think we gotta, we'll text into John to see if he's gonna make it. If not,
Not gonna go over 142 slides.
no. But I will go ahead and kick it off just so that we can start the meeting officially. So I guess to open the meeting, we've got, this is a meeting of, or joint, meeting of the TRZ Project and Finance Committee. Do we have any public comments?
No.
Okay, hearing none, we'll get to our regular agenda. The first item on our agenda is review current projects, discuss possible future projects, include but not limited to a review. And I was gonna give you the sheet. See the chair. It was strategic, right? Right, no public comments. So.
We're live.
We're
We're live.
Yeah. We're live. Yeah, I guess to finish reading it, our first item, receive current project updates and discuss possible future projects to include but not limited to a review of current projects under construction, a review of current projects in design, and a review of future projects. With that, I will ask Mr. Keela if he has any comments.
Oh, yeah, a lot of comments. Trying to figure out what's the best way to, in an hour and a half, go through what we need to go through. To set the stage, what we got is some contract amendments is really what kicked this thing off. A, B is that in February every year we do a review of all our projects. In reviewing all those projects, we try to call out any financing changes that we need. Well, there's just a bunch of them. And there's 100, how many slides? 100, no, there's 135.
There's a bunch.
There's 135 slides. If we went through the 135 slides, we'd all get lost in 135 slides. And our objective, which is to make sure that we address everything we have under contract, under construction, that needs contract amendments, that we have the money for that, and not have to turn right around in another month, go through this again. So one of the items, which is got the largest contract amendment, I have to abstain from any discussion on it just because it does bump up against some tract of land that I am the administrator for Thomas Baird on. So that's the largest part of this. That's the biggest number that we're needing to adjust and to make sure we backfill. So those are like my opening comments on how do we attack this, Tyler? You know, the items that we got the North Outer Loop that is gonna have to have a contract amendment. We got a contract amendment that we are negotiating right now on City Center, I believe, which is just to prepare ourselves for 4th Street, which I believe we got another member who's probably gonna end up having to abstain as that one goes through. We got the Santa Fe Plaza, which the Santa Fe Market, which has 2 contract amendments, one with a roof on the building. We have decided that we should go put a new roof on it. And secondly, that we need to do some underground drainage. So on that deal, which we also have another member who's gonna have. So we got 3 major items that 3 people sitting on the board are having in this group are gonna not talk about.
I can't talk about the outer loop project.
Yeah, so, you know, basically that's the complexness of this meeting, which is what best way for us to attack all of those items and make sure that as a group, we're prepared to go into our February board meeting and make all of those amendments. I will probably still go through the 135 slides in February. But when you do that, that's an hour and an hour. You can do it in an hour, and in that is all of that comes out, and we make all those abstentions and figure out if we got enough people to vote on everything.
I think generally speaking though, from a financing plan, Teresa, once you guys all are comfortable that we can accommodate on these, and I guess what we have in front of us is your proposed, or
That existed.
this is our existing, right? And so we'll go through changes as they come up.
Yes, and what we thought if John would go through the projects. And most of the funding is coming from, the agreement with Bell County Annex site was amended to give another year. So we could move that 2 million to 2028.
And for everybody that is unfamiliar with that agreement, it was $2 million a year, once, for 3 years, once it starts, and because that's, it's, the start date keeps kind of getting pushed. It doesn't mean that the 2 million goes away, it's added to the end. So it frees up 2 million and up on there.
And the other one that we, have been told that could be moved to 2029 is the funding of 3.5 million for rail to Site 64 to serve East Bend.
Is that line two?
Which is,
So I guess with that, I'll go
Line
back.
1 and 2.
1 and 2, I'll let you start with the projects, and we
So-
know that we got some
In-
funding items.
Then the other,
wondering,
yeah, our last financing plan amendment, we did add money to the outer loop. But this amendment would only require adding 241,717, but it would not add anything to the contingency.
which is a good deal. The,
Okay,
everyone around
yeah.
here, what good thing about this, everybody around this table has seen this 137 slides, right? I mean, we have to, and it's really important for us at a February meeting for the public, for, you know, new members, or all of us to go through it holistically, to take a look at all of these and making sure we understand it. You know, I really wanted to set the stage in that the reason what's gonna be buried, you hate to call it that term, but what's gonna be included in these 137 slides are multiple changes, so that when we get to the end, we've actually been really transparent with the whole board on all of our projects, and so you know, I don't know if it's worth. We can work there. This is slide number 1, you know, is a really important one in that we picked up the dollars. The East Penn has come and said, look, you guys push this back 2 years. Is that what they said? What year did they give us?
29.
29, so that's a
Started
huge. And we really just got that last week as we were trying to look through all the projects and find some additional money. So if you remember, 3.2, is that?
It's actually 3.5, because you're saying that 308,000 goes with it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
so-
3,528,200.
So David, you know, one thing as I was going through all these slides is that, what we can use is at the end of the slide, explaining the fact that it can be pushed out, so that when it's up here, that we can say that. So give me in red on each one of these as we go through these, making sure. So I'm sorry, I was with my mother-in-law 90th birthday in Palm Springs for the last 8 days. I landed at 7:30 yesterday. And right now it's 5 in the morning, which can't be good at 7 in the morning. My brain is still in Palm Springs, which was 80 degrees when I left, and you're waking up to 15. That's not very fun. This is one big chunk of money that we really had just found out in our last little RC planning meeting, that we had that, which has helped free some dollars up, right? The master plan, you know, we've been going through a bunch of this as a master planning group. Again, another caveat, and I think most of us in here know about it, but in case you don't, is that there are multiple EDC land contracts that are currently on the table. And so one of the things we are also looking at as a project group and as a financing group, and that we want to present to the whole board, are some scenarios. So if the land sales do go through, what projects that we would want to be able to have prepared to push forward. And so, you know, as you know, one of the projects that we currently have is this master plan. More importantly, is in the master plan is that the Old Howard is being moved and upgraded, and water and sewer into this project being upgraded and preparing for the future. So that is also something we're going to be able to possibly complete. Important thing on this, if you look to the very north, the very top, 1237, that tract of land in the past, we have not really discussed. We sort of skipped through this slide because we weren't sure we were going to be able to buy that. As the speed track, it is now under contract. And so one of the projects that we will be discussing here in the next quarter is if with the land deals that are going through, should we complete Old Howard all the way up to the north? If we were going to complete Old Howard all the way up to the north, it would be important for us to release the design already. We are designed up to where the big black square box in the middle, phase one, is complete. That is where Old Howard goes right now. So this is really not part of this slide, it's future, but for you guys, where we understand it, I might not have as good a picture as this, is that what we'd like to do is take the green line and complete it. And the reason for that mainly is for it, because we have multiple land contracts on the table right now. If all of those land contracts do actually close in 2025, it's going to be really paramount for us to have some additional properties available. And so we need to be prepared as a project group, as a zone, as a city, to making sure that we would have additional properties to offer. So in that, there's some design contracts that I don't believe are in our financing plan adjustment, but if there was a way for us to make that happen, that would be worthwhile. So here's your two planning groups, you guys. That's what I'm saying. There's that kind of stuff here. You have to keep the brain in it. And I, in my opinion, will probably take another meeting to confirm what the actual changes will be. Those are our two planning groups, bringing two of our zone groups together. And it's just important for everybody to see that we're looking at the orange or the red at the top as a planning area, doing a bunch of work in the master plan. We're really close to being able to make that full presentation. That presentation, I believe, is an additional 25 slides, and so we didn't put them in there yet, but it is a very huge package which lays out what we're going to be doing. And so the actual master plan is nearly complete. We made some adjustments on that master plan that I look forward to showing you all, which is just to making sure that we could possibly send this out to Patriot Rail to see if there's a possibility for them to get some grant funding for the R&D tracks.
Can we go back a slide or two? I did right. So lines 33 through 36, which is Old Howard Road, water, wastewater drainage. That's just that first green line, that first section, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's two sets of slides here, and I've got to decide what's going to be the best way to run through this. This is actually just talking about a particular project, which was the master plan. When you get to those actual slides, it's nice for us to have a discussion so that when you get to those slides, you can actually, they begin to make sense. So here's the Old Howard wastewater within the master plan as we're pushing forward. This is the just a wastewater portion of that project. But here's Gary, to your point, this is what is funded. That is what is in our project, and I believe we don't need any changes to it right now. The numbers are good, and so that's all we've designed is that. And in real terms, we have nearly all of the right of way available to push this all the way up to 1237. And again, that's what's important to know is that we have a master plan. We know what we're going to do. We now have secured the land, and we've only designed the construction inspection dollars for this section. But because of the amount of traffic that we're going to put on this road, because of what's happening in this corridor, because of the really unsafe nature of Old Howard intersecting right at the tracks at 1237, we think it's important to try to to release, all the way out. This is the entryway of Old Howard. We'd already made some adjustments to making sure that we could do the landscaping, in a nice entryway into this. That is the actual, how it will lay out with some buildings in there just to show everybody what could happen in that corridor. Again, that's just another pitch.
You were just talking yesterday at TEDC about the entrance and landscape, and that's programmed in.
Yep. This project's a $12 million project, 90% complete as far as our design. We're good to go funding everything on this. All we gotta do is, get the plans completed and push forward. And I think, 90% says means that's in the city's hands. They're reviewing it. Once they sign off on it, we'll do 100% bid. Looking for a bid in.
We still waiting on, Adrian to finish his deal to fund this.
No, it would not change that. Is my understanding, unless you guys have been doing something the last 8 days. You can't talk about it.
I think, I guess the question, are we ready to roll?
I think I would confirm with Adrian, but
Okay.
keep going from there.
Okay.
So,
So if we're good, when would the bid date be? Where things good?
Yeah, red at the bottom of this. I'll talk to Adrian. I had talked to him twice. Mine, unless something literally has changed in the last 3 days,
I think we're okay to bid, I think.
Okay.
But I would confirm with him before we.
It's, couple things we have on this. 90% any comments we get, we should be able to incorporate those very quickly.
I did want to have this meeting to make sure everybody was okay moving forward with the meets and bounds for just phase one right now. And so we're ready to do that. It'll be a little bit of overlap between 1 and 2, but if we're moving forward with this phase, that's fine. And so, but it's all, we, those are easy right away kits. And so I'm thinking
If we have comments back into this month, we can start advertising.
make all those assumptions and rather get in the weeds, make all those assumptions that we're moving forward, just like we're gonna do it in red here. Give me a bid date.
April.
Understanding, you guys, the complexities of every one of these slides.
And you're-
I mean, welcome to my world. Every time you move into it, there's a switch and a change, which is why I knew for 135 slides, there's no way in heck we're gonna get through it. Because when you do, you can start all over and then still change. It really has been literally what's gonna happen. I know he's got multiple projects out there. EEC is constantly working projects, and as I had left, we had adjusted some layouts for him just to see what was available. I mean, there's a lot of people looking at a lot of places in the state right now, and so what happens is you give them a layout, and then they say, well, this is really nice, but can you move this road? And at some particular point, that's what happened on Lorraine Drive. You guys remember, he was working, and he said, can you move the road? And really, this group finally said, no, this road's going in. We got water, we got sewer, we got force main. I mean, say that on this, that I think we're at a point, this is from my chair, that we've reached a point where we're moving forward. Okay, we need that north-south, and you're not gonna move that road in, if it makes any difference. So I think that the EDC should be told that's where the road's gonna go when you got a project like you got going on.
I think just check with them.
I will.
and bid it.
I'll check with Adrian and,
Well, but
Again,
just
comments
somebody
coming
did that.
back.
I mean,
It'll be quick, advertise it April 1st.
What about the OPC? Still good with
Good to
that?
go on the open.
one of our projects that is still pending, need is the upgrading of the wastewater sewer line there along Kegley. If you remember, we pulled this back, its design is complete, right? David?
Yes.
Yeah, put that on there. Know your slides. Design's complete. We were ready to release this for Meta, and we found out that I guess Meta and Ocho both needed that wastewater. We don't need it currently, so we pulled the funding for construction to use in other areas, but we do have the plans right away, everything to do this project, and it is sitting on a shelf. It's very important for us to know it's sitting on a shelf. That is a choke point. We're going to upgrade that as soon as we really need it and have the dollars, available, but it stays on our slides because it is something we're gonna need to do here fairly quickly. A project that, it sort of jumped out at us is the sewer line requirements from, on the left side is Niagara. Goes to the railroad track, and then there's another section from the railroad track over to the lift station. This one, I had all kinds of questions on, I'm not sure we're gonna be able to answer them here. The issue was, is that that line, the current line that is there needs to be upsized. Bryn did a heck of a job pulling everybody together. I think a number of us in here were at the meeting. I think we have a roadmap to it. David, I just saw these, David Olson, I just saw these numbers like 2 days ago. So the railroad, the Troy lift station, I don't remember us talking about that size of a number. I knew the one Niagara to the railroad, that was a number. And I think that the city staff absolutely has their hands around this project. And what we're gonna do, one of the things that the city manager wanted to make sure that if we do this line for the third time, that it's the last time. And so we're looking at all options to maximize the amount of wastewater that line will carry. Niagara, if you remember, they were just gonna do water, and from them just doing water to where they are now, they put in 2 aseptic lines and probably gonna have a third. Therefore, there's just a considerable amount more of wastewater. Therefore, we're gonna have to upsize that line.
So where is the money coming from on that?
Yeah, this is one of those complex numbers that I believe we have our arms around. I wouldn't be able to regurgitate it because, did you know that $5 million? I didn't see.
I don't know about the, I
Me
didn't
neither.
know.
When I saw it,
Yeah.
in the middle of the night, I thought, yeah, shit, I don't know what to do with this number. So, yeah, seriously, I'm sorry, we were at 3 million, and hey, for $275,000, we can go all the way to the left, right? That's what I heard last. And who's paying for it? So I gotta push through this one.
Right now, Bryn's target was the zone, which they paid for the design and a third of the cost from the city, and we were gonna seek for a third of the cost from
And that's for the number on
Niagara?
the left.
on the left, but we have not discussed
Yes,
this
yeah,
number right
and I was hoping that you all would say that when I got here, so I was, when I left the last meeting, we were at that number over here, plus somewhere in the range of $275,000 to get to the right-hand side of.
And, yeah, and if you'll-
My drawers.
So everything on the left there covers today's
Needs.
issue and needs and upsizes it so that that portion's good in the future. But then when you go railroad to Troy lift station, that's gonna be dependent on how Site 64 develops out.
Good.
So we
So
would
this
look
is
at
one of
that.
those numbers that we're gonna have to have on our radar screen. I would stick this, so you're blowing, in our deal, you were gonna get to the railroad, you're gonna use the casing, blow through the casing, and then you're ready. And then you got a new choke point, which is that section between the railroad and the lift station.
Right, which at that point, that
That's
choke
just
point
future.
deals with today's flows and known expansions.
Yeah.
But
And so the 3
we would
million,
need to look at it when we get to the build out of the rest of Site 64.
if I remember right, the 3 million was for, a 12-inch, and we're an 18, and
10 to 18.
you're going from an 18 to nothing else, we're not going and upsizing that?
So you're 18 to and through the railroad, and then at the Confluence Ginger, you go to what?
So now we were originally at downstream, we were 21 at the biggest. And now, since we've upsized 18 at the top end to accommodate all that additional flow, we've got to go to a 33.
Your current set of plans was what size? That's what I thought, was
On
it?
Niagara, it was 15
15.
and we went to an 18.
And the 15 was gonna be for the 3 million, and to go up to the 18, my understanding was you're gonna need some more money, so we've kept the 3 million at the same number, because we're not gonna need anything additional.
So the original 3 million actually was getting us to Pegasus but all the line sizes were much smaller. So now when we go to the 18 from the railroad to Niagara, ironically, that's 3 million.
Oh, well, perfect. See, that takes some thinking. Did you guys follow that?
That is.
Those are the questions I had when I pulled this up in my brain. So,
And the right side goes to 30-inch.
no, 18.
The right side,
The right side.
the right side eventually goes to 33.
The right side.
Because
is
it's-
like-
So
You
all
got
of
the-
our
you got two
discussions was this.
Lines, ones.
All of our discussions was for the red on the top, right? It was gonna be a 15 in our discussions. Brandon's really done a great job, I think, in pushing us to outside the box and making that 18. Ironically, before, the whole project was 3 million because they were gonna go all the way through. Now what we're doing is just that section to the railroad and the yellow section that the staff's gonna handle. And that the 3 million still works, but you now have a choke point on the paint, and the paint is gonna be considerably larger than what they had before, so it's pulled out of the project, is what my understanding is now. And then what we'll be doing is the paint at a different time, but now we have this new project over here, railroads to Troy lift station for 5.5 million, if we need the additional capacity, so. But the capacity for the current 18 will take care of everything that is there existing, but as soon as we get a additional client on 64, we're gonna end up having to open it up.
64 in those branches of like the LEO 1 that's going up.
Yeah, because everything, LEO 1, LEO 2, and this line all come together and go under I-35, so we're gonna have to get all of that for
Correct.
capacity. Got it.
Correct. That's what'll put you over the top.
Was line 44 still the correct number?
Yes.
Currently,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, and that's
So-
our portion
Of
of
the 3
that
million,
3
so
million.
you got city paying $1 million, zone paying $1 million, and Niagara paying $1 million. But we're gonna reimburse their $1 million, right?
That's what current discussions are.
Yeah. So we're getting $1 million loan from Niagara, basically.
Yeah.
Seems like an interesting way to do this.
Where's the reimbursement?
I think the way everyone,
Why- why-
Gary, I think that around the discussion is that if you look at the amount of increase that they have done, and they didn't know it, nobody knew it.
Yeah.
They went from a water line to 4 lines out there, and
Which we're delighted about, aren't we?
and their investment and the
Yeah.
dollars are
Yeah.
returning back to us.
Yeah.
We're doing
Yeah.
a kabuki dance and thanking them.
Yeah.
They're a great community
Yeah.
partner. That's a
Yeah.
great project. If a company was to come in and say, hey, we're gonna build 3 aseptic lines and put this amount of money in the ground, we'd all be going, hell yeah,
Yeah.
let's do that.
Right.
Now, one of the things Brent has taught us all to look at, and I think it is paramount for this group to look at it, is that when you're digging a hole 20 foot in the ground, make sure you got the maximum amount of pipe you can put in there and don't put 3 pipes in the ground. I mean, I really, and that whole process of learning, working with Niagara has taught, I think, everybody a little bit on how much you need to deal. And really, you'd redo this thing for sure. I mean, you'd be happy if they were gonna do the investment and
Yeah.
have that kind of a partner.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
what everybody has said.
Brother, to your
It's
point
pretty
is,
well.
the investment that's going on here is all personal property, not
Yeah.
real property.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's going to a different bucket.
Okay.
There's no
I'm
question.
still
that
trying to
this
understand why
discussion-
we're asking them for $1 million loan.
Well, you're even wondering why we're even doing it.
No, I support doing the project. Why are we as a community saying, Niagara, we don't have $1 million, would you loan us the money and we'll pay you back over it? I mean, that's what we're really doing.
We have that question too.
Okay,
And it's done, it would be tied to something,
okay.
like some off-site or on-site improvements to equalization basin, different things that.
Is there a way we can sit back at the table? Here,
Yeah.
here's what, everybody, here's what has made this important to get pushed through before the deal's completely inked, and that line needs to get done right now. The
Agreed,
pressure on it.
Agreed, totally.
You know,
Yeah.
you got East Bend gurgling
Yeah.
and you got Stay on coming, so
Mhm.
what you're doing is, this is an action negotiation as to do it. And so we're sitting here as a zone, making sure that we got our dollars in our financing plan so that he can release the project. Because right now, go out there, they're building the road and they need to get a 20-foot line into the ground so that the other two corporate clients are taken care of. And so is this done, I believe so, in the way you're looking at this project, let's get it through, show our community that we're not gonna come back in a year while everybody else is doing it. So we're actively moving at the speed of business. Sometimes we don't like that we're not moving at the speed of business. So if we are, right, what happens is that the deals aren't always completely buttoned up.
I guess what,
I'm on the edge here.
I know, I guess what he's saying is, can we not find $1 million? I mean, I don't know where the reimbursement's coming from, the Niagara.
We haven't figured that out either yet.
You know, we've all been in all meetings to the fact that when you look at our financing plan, there isn't just this plethora of money out there available for the 4 CAs. So I opened by saying the fact that we have a bunch of contract amendments out there. You got 125 slides, you got active negotiations going on 5 different directions, and we're doing the best we can so by February we can get 2 or 3 of these CAs out and still have enough dollars to where we're gonna run out of money. Wouldn't you say that was the opening statements that we've done? And so the staff's been doing an incredible time and trying to determine that so that we don't wake up and we sit down and we're short of money. That's why I think, Gary, to that answer the question. And all of these projects are active, right? So you got a sewer line needs to go in the ground area, and you got a community market that's under construction and it had 2 major changes. You've got a road at city center that really needs to be upgraded so that active businesses can stay open. You got change orders across all boards, all of them sizable numbers. And so what we're attempting to do is to show 137 projects. What is the best way for the first quarter to fund them? And the best of our ability is, I'm also, no, but I'm saying.
I'm with you.
I'm gonna say-
Mine was a simple question.
I know, but
Okay.
it's complex in the
Yeah.
fact that when we go, that's why we do this,
Yeah.
because when we go through it in the full board, you got 127 slides.
Yeah.
And they're gonna be buried in there, and these questions, you know, we can be here till noon and still not complete, which is what we did the 5 meetings before this. And when you come in, they change. You get a 5.5, and it makes you freak out a little bit, thinking, holy geez, that number stayed the same. That's what I thought when I got this in the middle of the night. But no, that, I'm not shutting you off. Gary, each one of these has a discussion point. I don't know how much we want to discuss each one, and some of them, so see when we're.
Enough said.
That's, any questions on that one? This will be a good, you guys, the 5.5 is an important zone project because the amount of capacity it gives us for, if you go back for this project right here, that's LAO1's coming up into there. If we do a bunch up into this area, that's gonna drain into LAO1, and LAO1 and LAO2 are gonna push together to where all this water goes, or fluid goes, see, they're all hooking into that, that's why, that's that one. Now we're moving to corporate master plan, not a bunch here, except that it's completed. And also it can be given in a presentation fairly quickly, you guys. And this corporate master plan has been slightly updated and is a part of the North Industrial Park master plan. And probably try to get this sent to you guys to review so that you got it. But again, if we didn't add it all into that, because it's you know, a considerable number of slides, crossroads. But these are all projects that we've all seen and wondering, is there dollars for these? You know, these CAs, these contract amendments are, we usually be saying, can we add this kind of a project? See, that's spending funding, we're still not funding it. A nice project to fund. We had it funded for 400 to just do one bridge, sort of lighten it up on the Old Howard side, the outer loop side. We decided, hey, let's go look at the whole project. What's it going to take from Old Howard over to the 2305? You know, we went from our 400 to, I don't remember what the number, 1.7 or 2.5. And so we do what we did good, which was let's increase the amount of work, therefore we can't fund it. That's my opinion on that one. This is we had a master plan for the crossroads. We've helped, just do an update on what's a good thing to do with this, tract of land. Really what he's talking about here is that currently, we need to open this up, or it needs to be brushed. There's a dump in there.
What's the bid?
It advertises, it's already advertised, pre-bids today, we get bids in a month.
Orange is heavy duty work, yellow is just getting mesquites out. And that's how it was presented so that we can get this thing opened up. Got multiple, people really looking at this. We've been in a couple meetings, on it. I thought we might have had a slide in there, but we didn't. I thought you had a slide in here that showed it might be later on what the potential is for this. Am I dreaming?
You're dreaming, but I can add
It's
it.
not in there yet. Stick it in after this, just to sort of get, because it's part of the master plan on what we could do
Are we
there.
clearing all the way to the corner?
Where orange is heavy and yellow is, light. So everything,
So everything in the orange and yellow.
But the corner is.
she's saying that's the, where
No,
all the
we
floodplain.
can't get in the floodplain. That's the, that's the, yeah, that gave us.
Until Trump gets rid of FEMA, and then nobody will be looking.
We can wait like last year. It took 3 years for those 90-day executive orders to
There's
get
gonna
passed.
be open, there's gotta be no FEMA. They're gonna have to figure out where they're, who's working.
Tyler and I got, you were going away too.
It's really sort of funny, he's just letting those people go. We don't know if you're watching the news. Crossroads clearing, that's that project. You guys, nothing additional needed on that. David, why don't you take this one?
Matterloop North 3, some project we got rolling. This is the one, actually, if you haven't been out there lately, and we'll probably have a drone video pretty soon. It's going pretty well, especially on the west side. The bridge is going along quite nicely. Bill's going in, beams have been set on the west side, across the railroad. All the culverts on the west side are in. So west side's looking great, about to shift over to, east side's looking great, about to shift over to the west side of the railroad. As you recall, we did have some changes on there with, the creation of the North Industrial Park Master Plan. Good changes to this project that'll help us develop our land around this infrastructure, get us more increment out there. It was a considerable change order. Of course, here's the exhibits that are illustrating retail and development that can occur once we do implement the change order. And then, of course, we do have a pretty good asset with that existing retention pond out there. And potential for a park in that area. And so we're helping to create that and make those connections with the project. Change order, this kind of gives you a high level look at that with the adjustments where we've got we did have some dry utility complications and Pendleton waterline complications right there at the railroad. With Meta, there was some very quick fiber optic lines put in to feed that facility. We did get the plans for them. We put them in our plans. When we started potholing, we found out that they didn't really follow the plans. And so we had to, instead of having to rip out those fiber optic lines and shut Meta down, we had to make adjustments on our set. So we've done that, and that's this change order. We did make some adjustments at Brewster with the development of Site 64.
You know, on those fiber optics, that's all, I don't know if you guys noticed, that's all over town. I don't know who's, like right in front of Crossroads right now, they don't really have to hand in plans. They don't have to do anything. They just go out there and just dip away, don't they?
And what's really interesting
You
is
see that?
they're
It's happening.
contacting us on a bunch of it, and some of them, we don't have things done yet. And it's Meta, and Meta's literally telling them, put it in the ground. We got to rip it up and move it. We will do it. We'll pay for it.
What is that in like tech stop right away that they're working? Or
Ours.
Ours,
It's really
ours.
crazy because they can go through, this is wasting our time, but for having a Crossroads, they go through, dig everything up and leave and got piles of dirt everywhere. They don't put the sod back down. We go spend a bunch of money, make it look nice. They just blow through, say, hey, we got the right of way. See you later.
So they're saying, so if we got change orders, are we asking them to pay for it?
They have the rights.
Richard has his hand up, I don't know.
Oh, hey, Richard. Hey,
Good
Richard.
morning. Yeah, I just want to add that most of those fiber companies do submit a request to us for a public works permit. which we don't issue for work in the right of way by the franchise utilities. But we do review them, to see where they're conflicting with, our utilities and our capital improvement projects. And this one, they went through the right steps. They just didn't follow their own approved plans. But we do see them.
And that's, I mean, to Richard's point, that's not uncommon. I mean, we'll see a lot of times they'll coordinate with us. And whoever the entity is done a set of plans and we've coordinated with the project, and then the contractor gets out there and they're usually before us. And something's in their way or it's deeper than they think of it, they just kind of do whatever.
So do we amend where they actually are? So if we have another user that comes in and wants to tap.
Do they do as-bills, Richard?
No, sir. They
I
do
just
not.
think-
And part of the problem is I think most of them use a third-party contractor or,
Yeah.
people that are out of work that need something to do, and they're just really not very regulated. That's one of the things we need to look at is maybe establishing a right-of-way permit process, even for the franchise people to give us.
We could add that they should be required to get the site back to the original, like if it's sodded and all that, they don't, they got piles of dirt everywhere.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Maybe what's the projected completion date at this point?
It really didn't move that much with the change order. And so we're still looking at, summer of 27.
Okay.
So obviously, we've talked about this one a lot, but we got the changes at site 40 and the connection on Georgetown Road. That'll feed that southern development as well as that big grading area to the south. I think all those are great. 27. 26. Thank you.
I said that to Tim.
Did I say 27?
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Early for me too.
Yeah. It's already late, you've been up since 4.
3. But I need my second cup of coffee. So we got the connection with site 40, and then of course we made the adjustments to the Texas turnaround, that connection to Moore's Mill, and that'll feed the south side of site 40 for the development that you saw on the previous slide, and then grading that section out while we've got some pretty good numbers in there for cuts and fills. Within the existing contract, we'll get that done on the south, make that more developable. And then, of course, the stuff to the north is water connections, and then that beginning of feeding a future park to use our retention pond asset. With the Quick Trip development, we did have a few things that came in here, and we did have some Pendleton water line adjustments. Those are included, as well as a water line extension that will go to the interstate and add a fire hydrant in. That was at the request of the fire marshal for Quick Trip, so we've added that in as well. And then the change order amount is finalized all of that, $3,520,000.
What's your available funds for that?
We only had our last financing plan amendment, we had added a new estimate. So a proposed one, we would only add $241,717.
When it comes time,
So
what's the available and what we're asking for, so that we don't have to explain it, so, because in the amendment, this is the change order, but you have a certain amount of money.
yeah, I mean, I guess, but we run out of contingency at that point.
Right.
So do we want to?
Backfilling it, right?
We have worked some numbers where we would add $849,000 to the contingency.
So
Earlier I misspoke when I said it wiped out it did wipe out the contingency, but we would propose adding $849,000.
So we're talking about adding 800 and not 200.
200 for the additional for the change order, and then add 849 to the contingency.
To give us a bumper.
Right, that should be stated on here, so that when you go through that,
No,
you
I agree.
won't have to,
That's
it makes
fine.
it easier for you. We make it clear for you, when it gets done, David, you got that change order number, and you're gonna put another line that says, here's what it was, and here's what we're adding to go back bill, so that when it gets to Tracy, she doesn't have to, and all of a sudden, can you put that back up, what was that number? What
See
did
those numbers now.
We may later, when funds are cleared out a little bit, add a little bit more to that contingency you were talking about there. That 800, you know, there's available funds out there that later dated, you know, that I was talking to Tyler. Is it worth getting to that 800 versus leaving it just at 150 and using it to push forward on that old Howard? I mean, we really need to find a fund that, but I don't know if you've been able to do that yet.
We did in 26.
It needs to be 25. I mean, it needs to be in 25. John's opinion, and that's everybody has said that, you know. Those plans need to be done, and in 26, construction dollars need to be found. I'm just in. That's what we're, as a project group, have talked about. Got to figure out, Melissa, that's one of the questions is, with these land sales and with some of the other movement of dollars, what's your bottom line? That's why we're still gonna have to meet one more time, maybe just Tyler and I, and you guys just to being able to, and you to figure it this last. Unless anybody disagrees with the fact that we need to get that released. I mean, it's,
If we're buying all their land, we
These
gotta
are
be able
from
to
the
service.
second phase.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
Gotta get it. You just-
we were just, we just paused on the first phase because of what's going on out there. That should lead you to push the gas pedal, not pause on one. Instead, you want to push the gas pedal on the other. Is that the pause that we had there for a little second on that phase one? All of the options push that road up.
And the ballpark number for the construction is
Again,
again,
that's somewhere in these 137 slides. And that's what I was telling you.
It's somewhere,
old Howard.
second phase.
it's bigger than the one that, the 12
Yeah.
million.
So does anybody,
15,
you're gonna
16
clean
or
this,
something.
you're gonna clean up the back end of the slide.
Sorry, I didn't mean to jump in.
It's, they're all intertwined. It almost gives you a headache. This is one that I'm still not sure about either. The numbers on this, guy. So everybody remembers this slide, Deeds, you know, we were gonna do the red line. We're good to go. We, you know, was gonna be a state project. Give it to the state and they say, good, let's go all the way back to go start all over again. You know, some cop pooped out here a couple of years ago. We're gonna find out if it needs to be done or not. So since then, we've now reverted back to saying, why don't we just finish our plans, right? And we've taken it back out of the state, now the 2-year holding pattern that it was in. Then it comes to this slide. So you're trying to figure out, where are we, as far as a zone? I thought we were right away only on phase 6. Help me out here.
Originally for 6, Zone was doing design and right of way. We've had some changes that will affect the cost and time that will affect it significantly. I think
None of that, is that any of that reflected in this slide? Right now, our current number was 330, that's our current funding.
current funding plan.
Okay, and with that current funding plan, is the project moving forward or dead in the water?
I am currently rewriting a proposal based on the new scope of work and connection and,
What is the new scope for?
Yeah, in my opinion, this is a confusing slide and nobody knows any of that yet. Do you want to spend the time to go over that?
At
Or-
a general, at a high level, what's the?
You're here until 9:30? No, I just wanted to make sure. You just whispered in my ear over there about, you're gonna pull the parachute in about 15 minutes. And so if we're not even gonna get past slide 13, that's what this, you know, you're here, you're not. I'm here. This is a confusion in that it's back to go, you know, it's back to go. And we don't have the numbers, and since we don't have the numbers, it's not worth talking about. So when this slide comes up, I'm gonna tell everybody, if you remember, this is what we've done, and this is in a review process. Synergy Park infrastructure, I think we don't need any additional dollars on this project at all. So we're good to go. We got Lorraine Drive going in, we're bringing sewer in, and we've got, you know, we own these orange properties. You probably play a slide now, what it is. So that in, it would make would be really good for me to look at it, so. You know, this shows lots of tracks, but let's show them what we really own. In a lot of this, there's lots of negotiations going on for land purchases, so that's why it'd be important to tell everybody, yeah, well, here's what we really own. And this slide is really confusing, in my opinion. So I'm gonna try, you and I'll talk, it doesn't really show what's going on. I know it's showing everything. Slide that you and I put together. This is some water line, you guys, so currently, under construction, started in punch list. So that means it's up and running, helps backfeed that whole area, Power Road transmission up to that lift, up to the elevated storage tank in the top left. That's a real important project that we've got going to get water into that corridor. This transmission line, I think this slide would be better to start with, David. Than to start with a pieces. So I'm sorry, when I went through this one, when you're talking about it.
You should get rid of that first.
Yeah, well, I think so. You know, too many slides. You guys, we need to get the water from the left-hand side, the light blue, that's the water plant. To the right side, you know, that's it to the Fifth Street. Let me check something out here, guys. I got a lot of slides here. There is going to be a elevated storage tank right in the dead center of that map where it says Barnhart Road. Right there is going to be an elevated storage tank. The zone is working with the city to making sure that that elevated storage tank that they're hoping to release in 28, that we can have all the water to that. And it's really probably one of the most important projects that we've been talking about in the last 2 years, and to energize in that southeast property. And to us, we've done something very similar to this to the north. It is. So anyway, this project, let me regroup what we've got here. That is so this is the purple is what we're going to try to release now. Right, we're looking at the projects that are going to be easiest to release so that we can move forward. The blue line is the hardest. The light blue to the left is fairly easy because it parallels a current line. And so we walked ourselves through this. That blue line in the middle has probably got the most complex amount of right of way we've got to buy. The purple is all along the railroad. A good portion of that red doesn't require too much right of way, picks up, I think, 1 or 2 pieces. So we can do purple and red fairly quickly. And so as the dollars are coming available from land sales, we're going to push forward on the purple and the red. While we're pushing forward on construction and buttoning up the purple and the red, we're going to be working on getting the right of way to the blue so that we can take that blue and then the light blue, attaching it into the plant. If we can get all of that in the ground, ready to go, you can then energize this pump station, which is along the piece that just got completed. We completed from 31st to 5th. It's been tested. It's in the ground dry now, ready to go. We pushed this ground storage tank and pump station off. It was, if you remember, was on our list to be done before all those other lines, but it makes no sense. That's one of the last things. You don't turn that pump station on until you can hook it into the elevated storage tank. So it'll be the last part of that. I'm going to try to reorganize those slides to make that easier to be said and not go through each one of these. It would be nice to have a single slide that shows me the total lines rather than going through each one of these. You guys, but you know, a single slide make it a lot easier for the discussion. You guys, each one of these is multiple projects on our lines. You guys, it's going to be real important for us in our February meeting. The important thing for the February meeting is to say, you guys, here's the whole line. Here's the whole project. Red, purple, blue pump station gets us to the elevated storage tank by 28, and we'll show you the funding lines on each one of those. And David's On each one of those, you can see FY 25's design, so he is designing all of those to go get that water lines done. We'll blow through that. I'll make that easier for us, but I think everybody understands that. It's as you can see, some pretty big dollar amounts. But it'll make a lot more sense when they're all in a single slide rather than 12 slides for our purposes on February. Is everybody okay with that? You guys all understand this whole line, right? Pretty good. Yeah, good. So now you're back to here.
Another slide.
Yeah, this is, this would, be put in with that other slide. That's why I was saying, a little bit of this, the water line, I'm gonna clean up, you guys, and the Lorraine Drive extension and what's happening in Synergy Park, I'll clean up for you. They're released, no change orders, nothing really needed right now for our February meeting, but I do want to be able to explain this to the full board in a little better way than what I am right now. There's just so many slides.
When do we think Lorraine is gonna be done?
Spring, yeah, spring of 25. This is an important slide, but it's more, kill the other one, I guess, and just put it back. You got it, yeah, you got that. Yeah, this is the most important slide, is that that Lorraine's there. But we do want to explain, I want to be able to explain in Synergy Park that the water line, the transmission's done, but he's put that in, put the water. And so you're going back and forth in the conversation, which he does this by funding line. But I want to be able to talk about Synergy all in one group. Yeah,
I'll kill the first one, and I'll just keep this.
right. Yeah, that way you're talking about the whole project.
The Lorraine dollars, were those $25 or $24? The
I
3
think
point,
it started in 24 and rolled in
so we
25.
rolled it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's, got it.
But it's going good. No needed funds. It's a project.
Do you think we're having savings on that?
Yeah, I think so.
I think,
I think we are swept.
I wouldn't count on, pottery, but sacrifice.
That's why I've been wondering, Tyler, about the 850 on the outer loop on this change order versus being able to take those dollars and use them currently for the North Howard, which I think is in here somewhere.
What you're saying, we got contingency money.
Well,
embedded
we
in
got-
the projects.
Yeah, we got money out there.
Well, we also have $2 million dry powder too, right? If I'm reading this right. 2 million at the bottom.
The 850 that you're putting in contingency, which makes a lot of sense, right? You'd still have to come back to the board, get a change order, we'd have to go through the whole process to use them, so why wouldn't you?
But we also have to have a change order to use it.
That's what I'm saying, right? So why just go bury 850 into a ditch there that is still gonna have to be
But
brought back to the
I-
board?
I actually agree with it, actually, because I think you can use the 2 million, right, without a change order, or without a financing plan.
no, you would have to do financing. I don't wanna take it to zero, out of it to zero.
Oh,
because
no,
if
no,
anything comes
definitely
up,
should
it-
not be zero.
Yeah, so there's somewhere in between.
That's what I was,
Yeah.
that's what I was,
The number that I had for Old Howard Design, that second phase was 1.7 million. That we could take it on Howard. that's
Oh,
137.
Yeah, that's a little, that's probably total, design by itself is, hold on a second. Yeah, 1.758, yeah.
we have that?
Maybe.
Is
Maybe
that
it's-
slide in
it's
here?
Priorities.
Yes,
Yeah.
because it's not a project yet, it's at the bottom, it's on the new
That's
project.
That's
stuff.
what happens, you wanna show everybody what's in your financing plan and then say, okay, now let's get to the next slide saying, here's what we could probably do. So then we have all these discussions that relate to the money and then you get to it and say, now here's the money I still need. This sewer line's going in, good deal, everything's there. You guys, this is a good slide. These are actually good slides. They even put that water line after it and that other one, right?
It'll kill the first.
Kill that god awful one that you can't really explain. This is the property that and this one could still be better as far as, this shows what the sewer line, the areas that are serviced. Well, not really. It increase, it does service let's not talk about it. Synergy wastewater line, summer completion, that's under construction, that's a good project, needed. Downtown city center. Man, I gotta tell you, that my thought on this, that I moved here in 1984. I have never in the whole time I've lived in the city of Temple, come over the railroad and looked out on the horizon and seen all those lights on. Never. That was an interesting thing this morning, to come over the top of that and see those lights on, you know, that's I've never seen that. And I came up over and looked out there, you guys, and all of the Hans lit up and thought, oh, I've never seen that. The whole top floor lit up. Have you seen it? Ever lit?
I wasn't paying attention as I was driving over the
Okay,
bridge.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool.
How do you, for me, I couldn't, you know, you look over that all those years. I mean, have you ever seen them lit before this? And you have. Yes. You have
Oh,
probably.
yeah, we come down at night, but it's wonderful.
And it, yeah, but
Yep.
like when you're young enough to have seen them before. Like, have you? Are you a
Oh,
Temple?
I thought you
So
meant.
you've never seen it lit up before either.
Not before now.
Yeah, this is the
Right,
first time you've
yeah,
ever
yeah,
seen it
first
lit
time,
up.
yeah.
And been lit up in our life.
I know.
That's what I was
Right,
wondering,
right.
who's
Yeah.
seen it?
Our generation.
That's an exciting thing, you guys, to me. That means they got a hurdle. When you can turn the lights on, that's a huge hurdle that's been done.
My wife
Means
and I drove
everybody
through-
signed off on all the lights are up. That's-
My wife and I drove through a small town this weekend and tried to do the same thing. And about every fifth bulb was out. It looked horrible. I mean, it is the opposite of what they're
Yeah.
trying to do.
This,
So,
this,
this
this
is much better.
project, to me, that exemplifies these slides, the fact that, you know, we're reaching a point now to where this project's starting to be lit up. If you walk this, you guys really should take the time and walk this now. It is really gonna be something special. I will tell you that. It is a major change in a major number of, you know, streets and that. I gotta look through this. What's the difference between what's the yellow showing me? What do you got going here, just so I know?
I'm trying to remember.
Change
Says
order
Bird Creek
06.
generator.
Is this your change orders? Do I need this line? I gotta figure out what I'm asking for here.
Yeah, I need to.
Yeah, we need to organize, you know, I would tell everybody in the board the same thing, how exciting it is, the fact when you see lights on. We only need one of these slides unless you want me to explain these
No,
three yellows.
I'll take care of that.
You know, we got this, what you.
We showed that at the
Yeah,
last meeting,
yeah,
at the last
when we got the change.
Yeah, I need to-
That's
I need to
the
edit that.
point, yeah.
And this is sort of a precursor to making this thing, but anytime I can take 6, 7 slides out, it gets us through this process quicker. You know, I think, yeah, so there is there any slides, you gotta help me, these are so many, that talk about Fourth Street, are we addressing Fourth
There is
Street?
one at the end as a new project.
It
with
needs
the
to
new
be put in
project
here.
money.
It needs to be put in
I'll move
here.
it to.
I don't wanna finish this and then be hung, you know? And we're really, let's see what we got here, Fourth Street. That's what's difficult on here, your scope of work. Guide, Fourth Street's in the middle, you guys, coming straight on down. And with all of the,
You need to show this going all the way to.
and this is, you guys, when we started this project, there were a bunch of dead buildings on Fourth Street. Because this has been a fairly long project, Fourth Street's now wide open and alive, and we have got to figure out all your drainage goes, what I am going to say in these slides when we make the presentation is we're gonna go from, hey, Hans away. You guys should walk it. They're about ready to pave all this. This is a great project. As we come to completion on this downtown city center project, one of the change orders that we're gonna need to do is to get some sort of access for those, all of the buildings that are on Fourth Street. They've got to be able to get in and out of there. And if you, as a project group and as the working group for zone, all of the water for this quadrant goes right in front of the police station. That is where it is all collected. So from all the way over to Third Street, the water starts heading towards the police station. Everything from up here is heading down to the police station. And if you just happen to have an accounting office sitting at the end of that, you're in a flooded area at all times. And I believe the council and the mayor or the city manager has been getting a call almost on a weekly basis because they got a mud field and a lake down there and that they cannot access. And so for us as a zone, we're only going to try to open up those businesses on 4th Street. And I believe that the important thing in walking it with the chairman, Bob, and a bunch of us was to make sure that the access is sidewalked as far as we can get. So a change order, rather than pushing this road down to them first buildings, I think we should just push, even go further on the sidewalks with the contract amendment. And then come back as quickly as possible with a change order to do all of 4th Street, all the way down to the intersection and pick up all the water in front of whatever that, what's that? Lot Vernon.
Yeah, it's a mess.
And it's just a mess. And so we need to push forward on 4th Street. And so that's a number, Melissa, that I don't know, you know, we got a contract amendment and a, release, you know, dollars for construction and design and make sure that's all together. That's one of those numbers I don't know if you have in this amendment, but it needs to be released. If we go another 2 months, we'll go another 2 months. You have this little thing together.
Would that be sidewalks on both sides?
No, just on one.
So on the side with,
Yeah. That's somebody said.
With Bird Creek.
This is what we're
Bird Creek.
working on. This is, no, the other side.
I mean, this has been bad.
That's right.
That sounds accounting.
Yeah, the other side is the,
Empire State, so that's not.
Next block.
We're going to
We
4th
gotta
Street.
go back and pick up on.
Which
Bring a.
we talked, there are those who are gonna be upset in the community, and you're, anytime you do something, you're making it get bad, right? So right now, La Vernon's, but in real terms, Great Lake with Keys has been there for like ever, right? They're gonna say, why are you taking care of the new guy on the block versus the old guy? You're gonna hear this. And the reason is because the only way you can fix the Great Lake of Cheese is if that water is heading into
Market.
the police station. So for him, how do we not shut all of downtown, shut it down? So like what you got going out west, you know, somebody's gonna get shut down. So all it is the moving pitch. In the opinion of the engineers and all of us walking it, take 4th Street and get your whole system ready, and then we'll head up A. You can't go the water. The only way if we did A, but you gotta know where to take the water, so where to put it. And what we're doing with Bo's place is they were gonna spend all of the the available money, 25% for contract amendment. And he was gonna push the whole street. That makes no sense to me. I want to get the sidewalk, because that will allow everybody to go to the garage and access it, right? Because they're not gonna ever drive half of the street, you know? And we were gonna, spend some dollars and put in a transition, and then within 4 months jerk it out, and that's wasted taxpayer dollars. And so we're gonna, that's what these 2 slides need to tell. We need to tell that story that, hey, this is done, we're sitting real good, we're moving now into opening up the Avenue A, and 2nd and 4th project. We're starting at 4th Street because of the drainage. And David, I just need you to tell me that story needs to be said real clear. This is a great slide. You know, a good picture, what you did, right? You got this. If there's a way that you can fly it before, if you get a nice day, probably not, but give me one that gives us a little bit more. This is a really old slide.
Yeah.
Right? You've got to have a better one than this. I mean, look, you don't even have, I mean, you just got a better slide than this.
Yeah.
Then we're gonna go to
Let
this.
me see if I can get it
Yeah.
long, because it,
Yeah, even if
because
it's
it's.
Yeah,
it's
it looks
changing.
too good right now.
Do we have a full completion date for those roads around the hall?
We did, and it was April right now, so the specifications don't allow concrete without artificial heat to be placed if you're gonna be below 35 degrees, 72 hours after placement, because it cracks.
You're dead.
So right now, we're not pouring any concrete. And concrete, obviously, you look at that, is a big part of everything. We're finishing up so that's
It's made.
And of course, asphalt's got concrete restrictions, or temperature restrictions as well.
Made. Probably not.
Yeah, so weather's pushing us right now hard. But I mean,
They were there.
Turner Behringer's out of the way now for right in front of the Han, so we can finish that up. That's a good thing. So they're getting close.
I get that question a lot.
I know, why can't, I mean, how do they do it in Colorado? How do they do it in cold places?
More.
Do it in the summer. Like Kentucky shuts down.
Shut down in the winter.
Yeah. I moved
They
to, I
don't
moved
put antifreeze in
from,
it or?
no, I moved from Michigan to come here in 1984. That's when I got here. Is because you would pour all your concrete, in the summer, and then all winter you'd work on stuff. That's terrible what you'd have to do. You don't get much done up there. That's why there's a lot of pubs up north. I'm telling you, right now, they're not doing anything but drinking. You take the people that work at, like at Glacier, like in Colorado, they, the whole golf courses and all those people that work at them, they plow and shovel snow instead of mow grass. It just changes. Everybody goes into a whole different mode. You got two different sets of jobs. It's crazy. Lights, this is still working. Do we need any additional funds? How you using, this is you, isn't it? Oh, do you have enough money to finish this project, or the city, or how are you feeling on it?
That's actually going to be a Tracy project, but she's doing a great job of whenever we have a new phase, she magically finds money.
Yeah, I saw that you guys contracted on one of the big yellow ones up there that you didn't have right away, so now you guys can go light that thing up too, maybe, huh?
And we're actively working on the second phase right now, or the final phase, and we're attacking it blocks at a time, and hoping that will.
Really surprised that the one across from us here that has redone, that that's yellow, they don't,
They came on board.
That's good, you would
Yeah,
think
that's
they
a-
would have, that's an important
Yeah.
one.
This isn't.
It's an old slide.
Yeah.
Do you have an updated slide?
I would need to check.
The question would be, do we need to talk about this at all? We say, hey, have you guys noticed that the lights are starting to pop up and it does look really good and it makes you realize
Yes.
that any building lit is better than no building lit at the top. They look
And that was
great.
the plan, and we've actually gotten our communications and marketing team working with us, and so they are making marketing materials that are being given to the outlying blocks, just so they can see, for those who haven't been down here after.
So Fourth Street, Bo,
Yeah, that's what I was just looking at.
you got lights on top of you?
Say that again?
Are we putting lights on
I
those
haven't
buildings?
seen it.
Yeah.
We haven't made it out
That
that
far?
far.
You know, Fourth Street's gonna come alive. You see how you got the annex and all that? We don't need to put any lights on the annex. It would look good.
Cause we got those three now.
I'd like to revisit this if the project and the finance committee agree that a slight expansion of this project by a couple $100,000, if we could find it, is worth putting in. Do you need any?
We still have over 300,000.
Okay, so we're good.
I think we can all, I mean, that's.
Let me get with my team, I'll get the slide updated and
Yeah.
budget.
Main Street,
Yeah, let's,
you've got part of.
Because we also went on the other side of.
he said he'll update.
Adams.
He'll get with the team for that slide, and I think what we'll talk about here is that we still have dollars, we don't need any additional dollars. And just make note of the fact that, hey, this is happening, bring it up to date, all of Santa Fe's lit up, and you can tell that the square and what you're doing, it looks really good. This has been one of those that is just for you guys that don't remember, does anybody know how this thing started? All of us know that they came in and wanted $40,000 to light up downtown. And we were like, yeah, let's start with 425. That was how many classes ago?
Seven.
Long time.
That's a long time.
Christina
This
and
is a great-
Jessica.
But it is, I mean, downtown, it was before Santa Fe, you guys, really, right? And so I know that's a That's a great deal. Bob's gotta leave in 15 minutes. What slide number are we on? What's it say? Oh, we're halfway through, Bob.
Oh, good.
You're here. You know, he leaves. I just want you all to know, he said he's gotta leave at 8:30. I made it here at 7:00. Right, I had a lot of things going on. I got a father-in-law
John, you
in the
don't have-
hospital. So if he leaves, we're done. He's canceled his meeting because he, unlike the rest of
It's
us,
a finance.
we made damn sure that we had time for our meeting. Bob over here, you know, who calls them and says, you gotta be there, right? Just making sure, if you get up in 15 minutes, the meeting's over. Giving you a heads up on that.
Cancel your doctor's appointment, Bob.
It's in the haircut, John.
Has this been on, it's been on our radar screen for a long time? Doctors, aren't you on executive medicine?
You're still recording sessions.
I'm okay
Keep
with
going,
it.
keep going.
Just that I wanted part of the record.
There you go.
It's just so many things here. Right away purchases. This is, you can see these houses coming down and being cleared up. Do you have enough money, this thing? What do we have here? Complete status. Main MLK is completed, MLK to 24. In finance plan 2028. That's our construction dollars for 2028.
Yes.
That was, if it's in 2028, we'll just get through it. C to Central. This is a project that is coming up here fairly quickly, 2.8, 2027. These are some of the projects that got pushed. This thing's been ready to go. Matter of fact, this would be one of those that if some of the land closings, I think you'd push back up, right? You guys, this is, you know, the design's done. This project is ready to push. We push the, yeah,
Back up one,
or forward one or back up?
right there.
What'd you say right there? Yeah. What you got?
Okay, I'm good.
But that is,
I was thinking.
this is one that is really one of the projects in the east side that we should, you know, it's been ready to go. It would be nice to get it going. This is Henderson. We were buying right away for that. It's on hold from us and as far as any construction dollars. So I don't know. I think that Brendan picked some of that up in the city budget, right? And I don't have to
Yeah,
say any of that. I'm just gonna say we're buying right away and we pretty much, or design. We didn't even have right away. We were just designing.
When we bought the
30%
uncluted,
schematic.
That's a 30%.
was it the
Yeah.
included?
Yes.
It eliminated the need for a lot of that right
When
away.
you write down, put 30% schematic, and that's all we had up here. That's what we were
Okay,
doing.
because we didn't have to do right away, we got it, purchase or.
There's a ton of right of way needed for
Yeah.
this.
It
All we were doing is trying to get them a layout for that particular project. And we had a 30, now I remember 30% said that if you could say more land in there, so that when it comes up, that what we had decided is just to get this yellow line put on the ground and begin the process of understanding what it would take to do this. You got that creek that's the dotted line that's running through there, that whole thing you would beautify. And we were gonna do a lot of that. And it was a huge $0 project. We just did.
Game changer.
Yeah, it is a game changer. The only thing on our radar screen was to begin the process to get it on the map and
I
that's.
thought it got redesigned,
You did. So
and it didn't
Is this the
necessarily
redesign?
eliminate it.
Is this the redesign?
I don't think so.
We've all slept since that. Make sure that the current, you have a current layout. If not, at least put it on there.
John, what was purchased from the unincluded fund? From right of way?
Yeah. That's what we will make sure that when this line comes up, we did a 30% set. That's what we did and just to lay it out. So that was the initial layout. They came back and said, hey, you know, we don't, and so that happened. And what did it do to this slide? And not a big deal. You guys had bought their right away from them and it just adjusted it. I'd like to see what it did. Not a big deal because we just had a 30% set to begin the layout. And so there's no effect. Except for the layout, be interesting to see what it did to it, right? I wouldn't call out the fact that it changed. I would just make sure that this lines up with the new right of way. Cause there's no reason to say, here's what it was before and here's what it is now, cause really the whole reason that the zone put this on the radar screen was to just begin the process for everybody to look at it to see what the effect was. Now, like Steve said, this is a game changer for that whole area. If you had multiple purchases in 6 months and you were looking at all of the projects across the radar screen, which is what the rest of these slides begin to do, is to say, where would the dollars be spent, right? So this is a project that is ready to bid. We're trying to push David to get some, okay from the railway. He was waiting for TxDOT approval, complete before he pushed to the rail. So this thing is ready to go. We're just waiting on the final sign-offs from TxDOT and, BNSF. And so we're
The city
gonna
just-
push.
I mean, the school district just approved their GMP for all that work over there.
We've got all that funded.
Yeah, this is funded and this is one of those projects that, I mean, it's ready to go. But it's not going, you know, it's either going, if David comes back and says, look at, yeah, we're all ready to go, but we're really not, that's not a rock. But, you know, here we are, we got all this money and we're ready to go, but it's gonna take 8 more months for us to get it. I mean, don't have all these dollars sitting on the frickin' table, so, you know, this thing needs to release in the next month or so. If not, we need to push it.
$5 million.
Yeah. And so that's what, somewhere in here it says that, this is what they've released their project. That's what it looks like. We were trying to make sure we were ready. David has asked the question, well, should we split this into the city portion, which is, you know, this piece? We could break that off so that it coincides with the TISD. And then this portion of the project, pushed with the approvals for TxDOT, and there's just, in my opinion, this should be ready to go. I mean, it's been on the radar screen. This thing needs to be ready to go.
So go back. You're saying that's 2 projects, or this is?
This is a single project.
So that's
David.
all,
Yeah,
both of those are in
yeah,
this,
all of this is in this project.
but you could phase it.
Yeah, you could phase it, and you would, you know, because that is an on-system spur 290 roadway for TxDOT, much like we're doing at Veterans Memorial and jumping through those hoops and changing plans daily. You'd eliminate that for Avenue E, because it doesn't make sense for Avenue E, had no control over. And that was just a question, you know, do you,
It is all 2.
It just needs to be pushed through. I mean, to me,
I mean, we could easily break that out, just do Avenue E and, you know, take that, all TxDOT purview gone from that piece of this.
I'd like
Get it all
to
done.
start with the process of just saying, what does it take to get this thing released in the next month and a half? Let's just, we got the money, we got the plans are done, I mean, what's it take to get these 2 people to say yes? It's so easy to just say, let's just push this back for another 6 months because we're not gonna focus on it. And I think the city manager and all of us, we get this done, it's been on our radar screen for a year. That's my opinion on this project, it's frustrating. This thing should be ready to go, dollars are there, TxDOT, BNSF, that's what we're in coordination with. If this project needs to be relooked at, it won't be for February, but who, Richard?
Jason, he's working with
Jason.
TxDOT on it.
Good morning. Hey, just to let you know on that project, we have a resolution going to council at the next meeting for what they call the local on-system agreement, which is TxDOT allowing us to spend our money on their road. So that is one hurdle that's moving forward.
Great, so that we won't be readjusting this now, let's just get BNSF to sign off on it.
And that's David Patrick's show. I'll let him fight with the railroad.
We are fighting with the railroad.
Yeah. When did they get it? We need to just be pushing forward on it. This is a good project under construction. You can see it's sort of a moving target, but it is now really nice and cleaned up. This is the newly adjusted. There's been some changes, as you know, to that performance building. And I believe this is what it is now. Not gonna look like.
And that was.
He has the new-
Remind everybody the previous, and then we
Yeah.
got,
Oh, you got the new slide in there?
yeah, that was the previous.
There's the new one. Does that match the new one? No, that's the old. just so I remember.
The short one.
We've lowered this, that there was no foundation under that, so that was one of the, work in progresses. There's some letters that they found they're gonna put in, that's part of the project. If you look in the background where the, mural is, we do have that in the project. That wall, we gotta make sure that, Steve, I know you're, we gotta make sure that they are doing as much as they can. It's a pretty big dollar amount we're spending to paint that. Let's make sure, there is no scope on that, David, on that wall, I don't believe.
No, it's not.
Yeah, in my opinion, in understanding that, you're talking to the contractor. But that's a pretty expensive mural to be put on a wall that is not being at all, scoped out. So we either need to drop the mural or add some dollars to making sure when you spend $60,000 on a mural, that it's on a wall that has been prepped.
I think it's 40,000.
We spent 6.
On the one at our yard.
And it's pretty big.
Yes.
That seems like a really high ticket.
I would say that that needs to be analyzed, as in the project group level, which is when I talked to your group, that, yeah, we've gone and walked it. I talked to the architect, and the architect said, yeah, we do want the little seat below the hat, that square, those squares are there, you can see that the door's still there, they still want it to make it look like it's on there. I said, so are you prepping it all, like power washing, scraping, and texture, making sure that you take, look at it so it doesn't peel off in the first week? That's not part of our work, so. Part of the scope is for us to paint that, part of the scope is not to prepare the wall for us, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me, so we will readjust that. I won't say any of that in our meeting, but you guys, as a project level on this project, more importantly, what I was gonna say is the building to the left. We knew that, left of the mirror, we knew that all of that had some roof problems, and in the scope of work, it definitely says, just take that building, block it up, and don't use it, but we're going to use it for storage in the future. Since then, it's made sense to go, put the roof on that section with the mural and get it all ready, and dried in good enough and opened up so that it can be used for storage. That means that the building next to that, you can see the existing office storage right now. That's where they're storing everything. We redid that building. It's in really good shape. And so, and what's in there is what Bryn calls stuff to throw out, which they'd use for sure, right? And so what we'd like to do is move everything out of the existing office storage, move it into that building to the back, and then actually use that now as a more possible added to this whole market, right? And so in programming the city staff, how they'll function, that office and storage building could actually be display. It's done. It's been redone and in good shape. Those are all kinds of thoughts, you guys, that we've talked about. The key is we're gonna have to do the roof, and that is gonna open and activate that building for storage. That's one of the deals. The other one is that, do you have the change order on here, David?
I don't know.
Are we not having a vote on it?
We have adding 450,000 for both to
All right,
cover.
meeting's over.
The
Chairman Strickland.
drainage, change order will be on your
Zone
next
meeting is a
project.
You're the chairman.
Yeah, it's 140
Yeah,
something.
it's 150.
I know it's dated, but
I'll add it.
That one is on the agenda.
it needs to be on there.
Yeah, I'll add it.
So that, and, I'm starting to figure out how you would, how I'd make that presentation. So can this, we're gonna talk about how good this is, David, when you go to, it's, I need a slide. This shows a picture of what we're doing. In the down, 'cause that's what it's on here. We're gonna, you guys, there's 2 items that needs to be done on this. It's the roof. I'm gonna explain why we're doing the roof in a lot shorter than I just did. And then the other deal is what they found underground. We had a nice inlet there for drainage. As they opened up the inlet for drainage, they found out that the conveyance system for that inlet was all done in railroad ties. Out of the old days, they did the pipes on a railroad ties, and so 2 change orders, the roof and that, they were like 160 and 250. Isn't that what is that what you already said, Melissa? 250 and
We're
160.
adding 450, I think, the drainage. We'll put less.
Whatever.
It was the roof change order.
Yeah, well, it's in design right now.
But we want to make sure we got it, so we don't have to come back, so we'll explain that it's in design and that we're voting on that. It'd be 250, so we don't have to come back, right?
It includes electricity too, to the building?
Yes. Includes electricity.
The change order will have to
It
come
includes
back.
access, electricity, and
Or
room.
it will. Because we gotta actually vote on the change order versus saying to everybody the change order's coming for the electrical and all that and voting on it right then. Are you sure we can't do that?
Why can't
We'll
we
talk to
just
Kathy
add
about it.
to
Huh?
We'll talk to Kathy about it.
I mean, let's just,
I don't know that we've done it that way previously, but I don't know that we can't do it some way.
yeah, I think we have done that before where we tell everybody what the contract amendment
not
is
to
going to
exceed
be, and that
the
we're making
contract.
sure that it's in the financing plan. It would be nice to not, it would be nice to be able to tell everybody that so that we don't have to wait 2 more meetings. That's-
Yes.
Whatever goes.
We're gonna talk about it for sure. You're gonna add the dollars in the financing plan. Contract amendment, this, is the annex. David killed this slide. You guys, we have no idea, I think, if this is where we're gonna, is this where we're gonna build the annex? Does anybody know? Is it where we're gonna do it for sure?
I can go.
Yeah, that's the site. And,
Let's kill that. Let me keep, what do we got here? Let me just see this. This is one of those, but this is probably the only slide I need.
Well, we need to show that it moved.
Huh?
We need to show that we picked up the 2 million.
Yeah. That,
It
so
moved to 28.
But do we have any other obligation, site prep or anything like that?
right now, we're
Maybe
good
this-
to go. I think what we want to do on this slide is to say, we're gonna update, you, in our financing plan that it shows 2 million, 2 million, 2 million in 25, 26, 27. Right now, because of, just delays by both, I think the county in determining exactly design and all that, we're able to fix this now. 26, 27, 28. Is that what we're doing?
Yes. This we're
That's
picking.
all in that.
So I'll kill all slides except for the money slide.
And then you show me in red what we're doing.
Yeah, because that we're using the 2
That's
million.
4 slides, you know, this was
For 1 year.
So we're going backward. It's like 28. So
Right.
the 25.
To the project.
This is 26, 27.
show this is what's in our finance plan. Underneath it, you can just show in red, 26, 27, and 20.
Yeah, yeah, so 1 year.
In all red, that's
Yeah,
what
we
it's
need
gonna
to
look
show
like.
it because that's gonna be part of the plan.
They're currently bidding the coin.
Yeah,
So
they had ran and all kinds of stuff. We could go through that whole dialogue. The dialogue was that they ran in such a problem in Colleen that in the old days, that what you could do is a single. Hey, let me back up here for a second. Is, Greg gonna be at our first meeting? Has he already been added? Greg, who was,
Who's that?
Greg Reynolds? Yeah, yeah, he is, so he'll be there.
Tracy, do we?
No, he won't be approved by council until the March 20th meeting. So
What?
we-
Does he have
He
to be
doesn't have to
approved?
be approved by council. He's a
No,
county.
no, yeah,
Right.
they have no approvals on appointments by taxing entities.
This council still approved.
the council approves the outside entities, adds them to the board, approves that.
Can he disapprove it? When you, on both vote.
Tracy, do we have him on?
I mean, if you can't approve something that you can't disapprove, that would make no sense to me.
For
No, it's
101?
fine. I know
Yeah.
we're open session here,
Do
sorry.
we have Greg on our invite for a 101? Because weren't you trying to do that for the new members?
Yes, Bob had sent me a note to set that up.
Can you please add
Yeah.
Greg to that? Because it'd be important that he understands.
The only reason I did
He thought he would
a
do
backup
every
on that
step
thought
of the
was, this would be the one item. If we do this slide, he's gonna say, this is the only thing on this whole slide that he's gonna wonder about. So the question is, do you show him anything?
he's up to speed.
Is he up to speed on this one?
There,
Does he understand this and this?
Mhm.
Well, good. Does he want this and this? Is that what you're
He
thinking?
wants,
Something nice.
he is getting up to speed.
Yeah.
to what he wants.
Yeah.
They don't know.
Right. That's why we're pushing it. And so I didn't know, as long as he's up to speed, he won't go, whoa, wait a minute. And that's why I did that whole exercise. Yeah, that's good.
So keep it killed.
Gil, even.
We still need the slide showing movement money.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
oh, no,
do that,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm just saying, this was just us doing a pre-fit, right? Wondering if that's what we were gonna do. We don't know what they're gonna do. You go through the whole story that they changed on the county level. It used to be that there was a single vote. It's real important. Now it's two vote system. And that's why Colleen's taking so long. That's what had happened. It used to be the person's district that made they change. This is, the whole Avenue A corridor, Main Street, Second and Fourth. Let's see, you show Fourth and then you do not. Yeah, I've never really liked it. It didn't get in there. Not label them. It doesn't show the same tree layout. Why it didn't put to there. The important thing on this is that the actual design is completely funded. He is working on this. Design part of Fourth Central Avenue broken out as a separate project. Does it show it? Do I have that as a separate project? So what you're telling me right now is that this Fourth isn't a part of that 360.
It is, absolutely, yeah. I don't have Fourth. You told me 45 days and
I'm just making sure I understand what this means. Design is in progress.
Yeah, so designs is still in
Fourth?
progress, but we're breaking Fourth Street out as a separate project because we're gonna bid that in conjunction with RT's project that'll go just as far as we talked about, and then we run out of money on our 25%. So I got 45 days to go to bid on where we stop with RT's project to Avenue A and fix lot burner and all that.
So I could send all that. There's no slide in this presentation that explains that, right?
There is not.
That's my point. It's not, I can't use this, right?
Okay.
When we're back at Central, on that, I can't explain it in that project, so my point is that I wanna be able to tell the story you just told me.
Gotcha.
You don't have it in here. And so I need dollars, I need the whole thing so that, and I think you would stick it, since there's a CA on the city center, right, that's where I need that slide, right? And so that when you get to this slide, it makes sense because you've already told everybody, hey, this, in real terms, you don't need to say this because you just already done it in the back. And that way, we have the dollars and we'll know what to do. You guys, that's why we run through this. I hope you all understand that's what we're attempting to do on this thing. Land clearing here. This all done, right?
Yeah, there's still.
Is
money
that still remaining 301? Is that how much, do you have any money left in this thing?
There's an item coming for some clearing, there will be some.
Is it in here? Is it,
Yeah,
I missed it then.
I don't know that he had it, but I think it's on. May
Okay,
26th.
but like I said, I went through so many slides. Is there another slide that talks about that item? Is that, that's what
I don't.
there's no change, nothing needs to be done. Nothing's gonna be done in February then. You don't need a financing plan. We're good. Everything's good to go. When I show this slide, is there gonna be anything I need to say about the fact that someday that's Transform Temple is trying to put dirt and landscaping there? And that's gonna be on the council's agenda or not on ours? Is it anything to do with us? Are we funding it?
Second, you're funding it.
300,000.
In 25.
Just want to know what I'm gonna say when this,
I don't know what it's for.
No.
One moment.
She's pausing us.
So in case you might be able to sweep it.
I think what you're gonna have here is a line, a red line just get ready to say that there's an item coming in whenever she tells us that we don't need any more money. So unless she's gonna know that it's on the agenda. So really, the 301 is what was remaining from the purchase. And we had it still remaining to be used for landscaping and irrigation on that center section. And at one particular point, that number 6 down there, that building was supposed to come down, but it's now a storage building rather than a nice cleaned up slab. Are we still using that as a storage shed?
Yes, we are.
And so that's not here, it's gonna remain as a storage shed.
Temporarily until we find some, that's the pallet shelters that are stored there. And until that project, I don't know where else we're going to use.
So we're talking about sweeping it as a financing plan amendment this time or no?
No, I don't think we're doing, I think they're gonna spend some amount of that 301. but
Yes.
When,
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to look.
she's still trying to find it, but what we're gonna do is just, I will explain it. And it'd be nice to know what the number is, if it's already gonna be on. our
I
agenda.
think it's less than 100 or right at 100.
So we
And that is
might be
like,
able to pull 200.
well, the 200 is remaining because, we just gotta sit in the park because we're gonna take the shed down, but that same shed might be there for another 20 years, so we need to determine to spend the money, yeah. I agree. Pull it. Would've been nice, yeah. All right,
Oh, okay.
I think it's on your February 26th meeting.
Yeah.
Agenda. Hang on.
Yes.
It is, it's for 93,000.
93,000.
Yeah, so we could pull 200.
it's gonna be on our February meeting, so can you get that or whatever that number is to David, so that you can just put a line item on here like you do, that it's a voting, it's gonna be a voting line item, yeah. Just make note that you're gonna put that, Veteran Boulevard, I haven't seen it, but it's on, that's, it's a run through. David can find it, she can send it to him, it'll be on there. Now, we knew that we were gonna do that, so it'll be a voting item when we get to that slide, that way that we won't have to explain it.
It says scraping of all surfaces, installation of new topsoil, design and installation of irrigation system, and application of Bermuda hydromulch
For,
for $93,832.53. I'll tell you this.
you just make sure whatever the line item would be, David, that we use, just make sure that, you put that, any kind of additional items. That's what will make this slide be. So I'll be
Just give me something I can make something up.
do you have you don't have an agenda yet, do you? For that meeting?
Y'all's meeting next week, tentative.
Can you send it to David tentatively, just so that any voting items that he can put the line item, on the slide, so that will save everybody. We'll be able to blow through this, even though this has been long, it won't be, because we're. Look at this one. Is this all still current? Tracy? You feel good about this slide?
Not anymore, not since yesterday at 3:30.
What did they tell you yesterday at 3:30?
They want me to back up to the south in existing conditions and completed areas and redo the roadway all the way across, including Temple College driveway. And landscape.
And this is the
Textile.
Why?
We meet the design radius for the design speed. They're not happy with, the configuration of the pre-existing median. We're going through it. When you go through those meetings, it's, you and 20 TxDOT folks.
Yeah.
And so you just get
You tell them
comments.
it's their fund, if they add additional funds, see, they'll just kill this project, that's what happens when they've already approved that, that's just crazy.
Fortune we already built.
Yeah, that's just.
Our
that's
scope,
done. They've
our scope of
approved it.
work was starting to
The
the
new
north of
guys.
there. South. Probably $400,000. Yes, I've got to take the landscaping out, redo the roadway, back farming.
Is it for turn-ins and things like that going into TC?
No,
But how can they, it's an approved section of road that they've already approved, and they're funding That is not what they're funding. They'll tell you, you can't spend money on this one, because that's the old one, but they are the ones that are gonna have the old one without funding it, unfunded mandate. Call Hillary. I'll call her. What those unfunded mandates you're looking for?
Unfunded suggestion,
Huh?
unfunded strong suggestion.
Yeah, I would say that as long as they're funding it.
They're not.
This, we're gonna say that this slide's still going ahead and that David is working through the process of getting his approvals of text dot. Right now, we won't say any of that other stuff. We really don't know. You're just working through the approval process. We're
gonna try to get it
yeah.
addressed.
Is it likely that, I mean, we've got a lot of dollars committed for 2025. Is that timeline, does it need to be pushed out?
It can.
No,
Okay.
we got grant dollars.
Yeah,
We have to-
As of our meeting, we're still staying with this slide. We're not gonna mention the process. We're having half a project meeting and right now, he hasn't got his final approval to release the plans as designed. But we're working through the process of getting that completed so that we can stay on schedule.
We have to award a construction contract.
And they, to them, for their deal, so.
Yeah.
So this is, we will run through these, in that meeting. One of the keys to getting this completed is for this land purchase. Tyler and I are on that board, and so is Brian Hart.
Yes.
So three of us cannot vote. Oh, we don't have to vote on that. We're not changing anything here. So
It's just,
I can talk about it as a project, can I? Yeah. I mean, everything's been done. You know, the bottom part is we're gonna have an EDA for the proposed detention with the bioscience district to construct that detention facility, and all the dollars are remaining the same. And that we really have, I'll be able to run through that real quickly. I won't do it now. And that's all been approved, no adjustments. It is broke off, the Fires Creek is broke off as far as the construction dollars, because it is not part of the text dot, but we need it to be done.
do we need to change that right away to 380 agreement that it's not a purge?
Yeah,
And I think that we could probably give the city access to the land to start even before payments received.
it's no longer a right of way purchase, it's more of an
It's a
economic.
creating development agreement with the city and the DPD as opposed to a right of way purchase.
So do you want to change that out of 146?
We're doing it as a 380 instead of.
So should we just do, do we just say nothing? Do we need to say anything?
The amount's the same,
Same.
it's just the documentation.
Yeah, but it's not right of way purchase, it's an EDA. So we're saying that we can go ahead and just change that ROI to an
Yes.
I just
380.
said 380 EDA participation.
On the right away 2025.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just, it's
I think that probably makes sense to have that done.
and I think there's potential, I mean, the THD does not want to hold up any projects, so to the extent that the zone or the city needs access to that to start work as part of that agreement.
We're still fighting TCP a little bit, but we're almost to the finish line.
Actually, it's an interlocal. ILA,
So I'm gonna change that from right away to 380.
No, to-
ILA, interlocal agreement.
Oh, interlocal, okay.
Melissa, can you change that on our financing plan? Or-
Hey, David, when I switch to these slides, it doesn't tell me where I'm going. So I guess it's the 7. And when I'm going to each one of you throw this in, if you throw this in, can it take that 8 and make it flash or something so that every time these comes up, I know where the heck I'm going, otherwise just kill it. Right? So here's what I'm saying, when go from a 7, okay, that's my last item on number 7, I come here, it doesn't tell me, hey, John, you know what you're going to? It should take that 8, now we're going to the airport, because I think that's where we're going, yeah. So I just, otherwise I don't need that slide.
You wanna keep it though and just have movement?
Yeah, I'm moving. On every one of, once you do it every time, you're announcing that now we're moving from one. Yeah, hey, we're over here now. That would help me. We don't have any funding on this, do we? This is just,
We do.
we do not. But you have this long old slide on this. Well, no, there's just nothing.
That's
There's no doubt.
currently no dollars.
Is that design is done?
Design is done.
Is it done? Great. So put on here completed. Because it's completed, does anybody understand what the dollar amount would be someday? If
It used to be
so,
900,000.
Huh?
It used to be 900,000.
I think we would want in red here what it is, so that I each know what it is in the future and say unfunded, just like master plan project unfunded. And then here's what the dollar amount is, that way we could. He still has an issue out there, if you guys, what this does, if you can see where we built that deal, we took a huge amount of space out of his. Cause not only did we take the hangar space underneath that cover, you got access in and out, and we really killed a huge amount of his space. And so that red needs to be funded at some particular point, sooner than later. And we need to know what that dollar amount is so that I can start plugging it in, see if everybody's okay with that, and we'd like to be able to talk about that.
That'll cost a grant somewhere down the road.
Yeah, the grant that they're working on right now is this, and I don't think they're gonna grant us, something for the space that they don't usually grant T hangers and covers, that we did. David, do you have a better picture? I don't know if you can, in 1 week, but it'd be nice if if you had an aerial where it showed that what we took away. So, and explaining it, this doesn't explain it. This is one of the grants that is happening. I didn't really understand this one. We've got,
That's the match dollars.
huh?
That's the match.
Those are our match, that's all that's saying, but you got the grant match, it's our grant in 2025, we currently have 438,260 in there as a match grant. Those, and that's showing every other year. Is that what this is telling me?
Those are two different grants.
Okay,
The 438 is the taxiway D grant match, and the rest of them are ramp grants that we get annually from the state.
so this slide, I'm trying to tie this slide
That
to
slide
this
goes
slide.
with the 438.
And that is there an update on this project? Does anybody know?
We
Is
can
it
get
under-
one.
He's about to release it.
he-
That's what Sean told me. We didn't do this.
So all we're doing is funding the 438 towards this project.
And the state's gonna let that project.
So I talked to Sean earlier this week or last week, and he said he was about to bid it internally. We home. We're not doing it, so I'm not in the weeds on
Do we agree that,
it. Yeah, it's a text dot.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure text talk.
do we agree that, is that 438, was that a collective, you banked a bunch of these, grants, or was that a?
That was a separate.
Yeah. I want to drop that. This is a confusing slide.
Okay.
That's what I thought it was. I just making sure. This slide here, David, needs to say that 438, that the zone is funded a match grant for this project, and that's all this slide should say. So I didn't understand, because they didn't add up, I was thinking, oh, that's 411.11. It makes it didn't make, so you're getting rid of that construction number, and we're just giving a match grant. That's not that now you can have another one if you wanted to say, boom, see, the next slide would say, also in our financing plan, we have a 170 for those four. I just think they should be separate slides.
Why are those in our,
Good.
why are those four in our?
In the master plan, in the financing plan, because we have agreed to put 100 out there so that they could always use it. I,
So in 25, the zone is only contributing to 11,111, the state's doing 100,000 of that. In the future years, unless they change, they've been 50-50, so the zone was doing 50,000 and the state was doing 50,000.
every year,
So there's a
so they just
50%
automatically get
offset
paid
on the income side.
Yes.
every time.
Except
Every year
for
they're able
25,
to-
we're getting
Why 111, 11?
the way they do the match. the 10%. Okay.
That's 10%.
Is that,
Yeah.
is that 111, 11
That's
going
not-
towards that 438,
No.
26? Okay, then this should definitely be two different discussions. One is that we currently have a project, which is this project that is about to let the airport. Sean is going to be releasing this project. And we, the zone, did a match of 438,260 for this project, and it should be releasing in the next couple months. The next slide will be also in our financing plan. We constantly have a match, and this is showing that it's in all of those years in the 170. And this year, the match came out at a different number. And are we changing our financing plan to the 11111, or is it
It's
in
already-
there? Okay.
That's helpful, thank you.
Yeah, well, when I looked at this, I was confused because there's gonna be two slides. One is a match grant.
Yeah.
And you got it under construction, David, it's not construction, right? That's why it doesn't make sense, and this just means be grant match, but a separate slide. Just
Yeah, I know.
ditch the
Yeah,
word
it's just grant.
construction.
It's just
Yeah, it's
Is that
grant
a
match.
1-for-1 grant match?
That's-
There's 90/10s and 50/50s, right?
These are 50/50s.
The grant's about 1.9 million.
On the grant match for the 480, oh, can you get that
That's
number
good
to
to know.
David? That's good to know, that project,
Yeah.
so the total construction, under construction here, David, you got this? I know you're writing it down. But this project is, hey, Melissa, the number you just, is that the total project or their portion?
That's their portion.
And so in real terms, this slide should
It
say we have
should
a
say,
grand match
yeah,
of 438,
grant and then
260. And then we're gonna.
Text
and then we're
dot
gonna-
total.
Yes, that's what you need this to have.
And you have those, Melissa?
That's good, because the slides that I didn't understand actually ended up being ones that need to be clear, so that's always good. This would be, I guess we're going to 9. See what I'm saying? That's what's, you go to this slide and you think, oh geez, what am I doing? And that 9 should say, here we're going to whatever this is, the Eastway Gateway, which is, Don, I'm still waiting for, I saw that you had to answer a bunch of questions on that. Is that ever gonna hit the paper? It's okay if he's listening. I was wondering if he's gonna say how good a project this is. Cause it is now complete.
I've been watching for the
Yeah,
article.
I've been waiting for the article just to see the twist on it, because as many people who complain, I've had more people tell me every day how nice it looks, Unfortunately, people don't call City Hall and tell them, but I have had a ton of people tell me how important this is.
Keep at it normal.
Yeah, keep doing more,
doing
don't
it, yeah.
stop there, and there are more people that have come into our community recently that NKF just recently, which is the market analysis people that came into our community and said, we had no idea what was beyond this I-35 because it looked so bad. And they pointed out that they had turned here to come down to our meeting in DDC and how great that it looked. I think that's really important. It's unfortunate that the 90 to 95% of the people in the comments that we have heard about how great this project is, all we concentrate is about those 5 people who complain. That's always unfortunate.
It's always
there,
there. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but it
Just
is
do the work.
important because
Do the
the
work.
paper has called all of us and wondered about this. This project started like near 10 years ago, and we have talked about this project like this.
Yeah.
Meeting after meeting. So you guys, it's completed and a great looking I mean, we have so many gateways in our community, and this one, it was a great project to have done. Number 10, let's go back to starting. There is no. So now she's just gone to a 10 that doesn't really have any.
Yeah, I mean, it's a master plan. I wasn't sure how to,
Put that in.
yeah,
there.
to encompass all of it.
I would make the whole damn map jump out. If that's what it is.
I'll have her give it a
Well,
shot.
yeah, it would be either that.
I have confidence in her abilities.
Our 2050 master plan, you guys, is doing great. Is this? It's 250,000. There's been some scope creep on this project. It'd be interesting that I would tell the group and I would tell you guys that we've had the consultant doing multiple additional maps that have come out of it that wasn't scoped in this deal. You never really know what you're getting. So we had $250,000 for him to do a master plan. And we now have asked him to do multiple maps to try to really understand where we're going. It's interesting that news, did you see that Newsweek article? I sent you and some others. That'd be interesting to show everybody. Wall Street had the same article. Wall Street and Newsweek picked up the Wall Street, and wherever they're picking it up, the state of Texas is gonna lead the country in the next 20 years as far as growth. And it is like, all right, Texas, are you ready? You're gonna grow at whatever the percentage was like.
I'm saying basically it's gonna be the biggest state.
Yeah, we're gonna be the largest state, but it's just. All it does is reinforce the fact that what we've been talking about here is 250,000 population by 2050. That number semi-matched the article that the whole demographers throughout the country is saying that this is where you're going, Texas. It's a sidebar, I won't say that, but in this 250, I would make mention that there may be a contract amendment in the future because we had a little bit of scope creep on mapping in a lot of stuff that the city managers like. It actually explains what we're looking at.
Is that what we're referring to now, the 2050?
Yeah.
So we can modify this line items to
Not
2040?
yet,
Not yet, okay.
But I'm hoping that we haven't done that, but I think that I keep asking them to do a bunch of mapping, which is much different than just putting the master plan together.
I do think that's gonna end up being one of the most important documents we do. Period.
Really have appreciated full staff working out these new projects. And so now we got a new one here. So these are unfunded projects. This is now new stuff. Everything. When we do, I would need to know when I'm making that transition from this to a new one.
Yeah, it should be a 10.
Yeah, give me something. This a 10? No, this is now we're going into
Yeah,
new
it's part of
projects.
that, it's part of the master.
No, these are all new projects. So what I need is a slide that is telling us that we've just gone from our updated plans to now new stuff. These are projects that aren't projects yet.
Right.
I need something that says that.
Lines on that.
Yeah, these are all lines on a map.
Okay, we're just going to, new
Anything.
projects.
Anything, just give me a sign that says now we've gone from approved projects. None of these have a funding, none of these are projects yet. And I'm trying to give the full board a heads up on projects that we see needing to be added in the next quarter.
So new projects not currently in the funding.
However you do it, just give me something that says something like that. And I'll adjust it when you and I review it. Okay. So you guys, now this is all lines out of paper that we did not go with this old Howard Road. We didn't know where we were gonna go north. Now we know because we have bought that tract of land. We have all the right of ways to make this happen. And so it design wise is 1758. Would really like to have that in 2025. Melissa doesn't have that. This came out of all of the projects all of these are projects that have risen in the project group, been reviewed with the city manager on projects that need to be added to our financing plan if we can find the available funds, right? So this one in the 2025, again, now that we have all the right of way, and as you can see, that connection up there at 1237 currently is terrible. This back door will be used, in our opinion. If we open this up, people are gonna get to 1237 because it has a really nice access over to Troy, in a good intersection. And in talking to the TxDOT, the 1237 is in really good condition. It can handle trucks and all. It doesn't have any weight restrictions, so we need to have that back door open for a multitude of reasons.
Is that ATV and start where the prior
Yeah,
old
1
Howard
and 2.
ended?
Yeah, see, 1 and
That's
2,
two.
yeah.
And so we still don't have a number for phase one though.
It's
right?
done. It's in our plan and it's ready to
It's
go.
done, then money's already in there, it's the
That's the 12.
It's 12 and 18 to 30 total.
And that was our slide number, like 6.
The 12,950.
That's our construction.
Okay, all right, let's say wastewater.
No, that wastewater was the
Says
slide
drainage,
before.
Road
Drainage,
drainage,
wastewater improvement construction.
it's,
What is it?
You know what it says?
Well, it says Old Howard Road, and I think road meant road.
it's.
I mean, I know it's Old
35,
Howard Road.
So it's.
Okay,
it's-
but it's
It
just
says
all of
it's
that.
It's all.
Okay, that's what I was confused about earlier.
Road drainage,
Yeah.
water.
All of it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
got it.
Got it.
We have a slide that broke it out.
Got it. Okay.
So, but go back, I think on that next slide, you can change the timing of them. Right, so the construction, there's no way we get to 25. So probably, in terms of trying to, are we gonna try to? reflect
Right,
it?
no, that came from that master plan, in our master plan meeting.
Okay, so
Project.
this is, now we're switching, I switch your brain to, this is not in our deal. If you were in
Okay,
this
so you're
world,
just
and if
throwing
we
it
just
out.
closed a bunch of projects, at some point in 2025, we would come back and say, guys, this is a project that if the funds were available, that's how we make it look right now. We're not voting on that.
No, I-
I'm giving everybody the heads up. That's what that slide, needs to say. We're transitioning. This is what's the hard part when you
Yeah, I-
transition from, okay, here's what we're doing, and now there is a potential contract or financing plan adjustment. If I could find, and that, I means all of us are on the table, remember,
Okay.
that's John from. If we could find 1,758,000 today, that I wish we could put in this
Yes,
financing
and
plan
I
that
agree
we
we
could get
should-
there.
I agree that we should try to find that if we can, so that we can get it designed at this point.
You're gonna love these next slides because as you go to the next slide and the next slide, it's the same thought.
I know, but.
No, I thought
in
this
terms
is
of,
the-
like,
This was priority 1
Yeah.
on our, can we fund 1,758? We
Right.
should, right? And then if these contracts happen and everything is okay, the board won't be surprised if we come back. I'm hoping that, I can tell the full board, yes, we are hoping to be able to come back to you and find additional funding for that roadway, mainly due to the fact that if we do sell some of the land that we are and do some of the projects, we will have a huge need to open up this, that's the. This has been on our radar screen, and the story behind this, Blackland is now completed. If you know where you are, you're at Blackland Road, a little river, we have got the Barnhart Road is complete, almost opening up for the school. You've got, that little river road, this intersection has sort of been somewhat upgraded so that it's there. This little S, the reason, the political environment, seriously, we've got, our congressman to work real hard on getting us Veterans Boulevard, and we're doing real good. This would require a land swap. As you can tell, it's going through USA property. What we'd like to do is to see if they would just take the right of way we have up against the building and do a swap. And so we need this design. Like, let me see what we got here. You got $1. That's the design dollars. You get them. I need to break down into a 30% set because you'll be able to use the 30%. I need to be able to send this project to the congressman's office and say, we need him to. So what I need to be able to do, David, is to survey this, get all the surveys done and all the documentation together to send to the congressman to say, can you sign off on this? And so, rather than just showing him a line on the paper, we need to be able to present to him the total package of a land swap, a right-of-way swap, really. And see if he can get it. It's gonna take an act of Congress possibly, or if it can just be signed off. We're not sure what he's gonna be able to do.
When we just equal swap and it's,
I think we need to, so this right here needs to reflect what it's gonna
schematics, a
cost
30%
us with
design,
you to do
so
the
he
design and get
take
the
that.
surveys and all of that. And then the second one is to, in 2025, we need to fund whatever it's gonna take you to put that act together. 2026 would be to finish out the design. And then 2027, a construction dollar. Remember, we're putting those numbers in there just in hopes that we can put this in your financial plan, see if there's any possible way for this to get done.
What's construction, $5 or $6 million maybe or something? Ag,
I got that as well.
okay.
Well, he's got a way, I mean, he's got the real number.
Okay.
This is, I would tell you, as we're talking about that, he had a question about this. This is one of those that Kathy will love. Cause we're putting the road just like we always do over a bunch of people's property.
It's my favorite.
You love these always, but it's a line on a piece of paper that TxDOT has talked about in our meetings and, that's, but he asked if I should not show this
Construction very soon.
because it's a line on somebody else's property.
Total project is a little over
You have.
8.1.
I know I am, but I was okay.
If we
with-
don't know.
Yeah. But I'm personally just sort of okay with full disclosure that this road needs to go through there, and that's how it would be addressed, that you'd be taking these two owners and saying, this is it's on our thoroughfare plan. I mean, that's what it would look like. The reason I think this needs to be fully disclosed is because if you're going to do this and you're going to the congressman and saying the importance of that, it's because it's heading over to his I-14, which is also a interstate. And so it completes the system. They need it. The system needs it. You got Barnhart up there. And when you're looking at what I-14 is going to do, they need this intersection pretty bad. It's the one that's going to cross over. So, this slide isn't going to be nearly as important to us, except the right-of-way dollars, which that is what we would be sending towards our right-of-way people to say. And Brendan asked this, Mayor, that can we begin to look at the fact that at least getting our right-of-way for.
Sounds like I didn't miss much.
So you're okay? Did you go to the hospital and back?
Yeah.
Well, I guess you're a healthy little guy.
I'm good.
Didn't want you to be responsible for me dying, so.
We're just talking about this swap. This right-of-way dollars. That's what, that would be the key, the yellow. I like that right away, just, that's what I would talk about, is what's important about this would be the right-of-way dollar. David, your design at 8.5, I mean, in your right-of-way dollars, we only need a small amount of dollars to have you do, we're not gonna fully design it without the right-of-way, so whatever it takes for you to begin that process in 2025. On this,
See,
okay?
like,
Same-
break that out with 30%.
yeah, Same thing that we do in here. What is it gonna take us to get the start of getting the right of way documents? And plus, this would be a part of presenting to, the congressman on that connection, the importance of this.
I think if we just got to 30%, we know, we'd be comfortable of setting those lines and getting right away.
And we'd be able to put that in the presentation. This is like totally, a new project that has been talked about as, us taking a look at a additional wastewater plant. There's, David has begun the process of working with David Olson and the whole staff as to what does, remember, this whole thing is the 250, 20, 40. This has come out of that whole deal that in the next 20 years, for expansions to the north,
our ability to do some of our growth in that north quadrant, that red quadrant we had. David, can you give me that map, the north quadrant map? Not now, but, before this slide, I want to be able to go to that slide. That shows that whole, the red, the north part and the corporate campus. It's like slide number 4 or 5 out there. You just put, that north quadrant map. I don't want any land locations, just you already have that map. Because what you're talking about is for us, to do that, there's that slide. That's it. Yeah, we're going to have to figure out how you're going to wastewater that north quadrant up in, as we're moving to the north. And so that one of the alternatives, one of the best alternatives is just starting the process, which is a good 5 to 10 year process of having a new wastewater plant, which would open up that whole northern quadrant. Right now, in dialogue for this group is that there's already a mud being looked at it. Up in Moody and up in Troy, and that's what's happening around the whole state right now. People trying to figure out how are they going to get wastewater plants. And so for us, our move to the north, we've already made a move to the north of our master plan. Only half of that master plan flows to Dozier right now. We'd have to lift, and there's going to be that $5.5 million that we talked about earlier in our program for LEO1 and LEO2. We would have to upgrade those so that they would have additional capacity just so we can pump like the Speed property alone. And that's why we have the 5.5. So as we build Old Howard up to 1237 and to be able to get wastewater for that, we're going to put in a lift station, lift it on the Dozier point to where, you're not going to, it's going to make more sense to do a new wastewater plant than it is to continue to update yourself over the Dozier. And so this is on our radar screen to be able to process of doing a design. Now, David, that 8 million, you said that there is a number that you called it something,
Basis of design,
and that costs,
2.5.
that needs to be broke down here. Okay.
Yeah, I've got it on the previous one, but I can put it on this one as well. Highlighted.
You do have it, sorry. Basis of design, if we want to look at what it would cost and the hurdles that you would take to put in a new wastewater plant, you would fund this 2.5, send it up to the mayors and the council saying, hey, are you guys interested in starting the process of locating a new wastewater plant to the north? And if they were to say yes, and everybody signs off on this project, we would want to find that 2.5. That is the first step in doing this, which is building a $100 million wastewater plant to the north. This is about,
Is that the land purchase or is that?
Yes, the 1.5. Yes.
that number, as he's doing 2.5, that right away number would adjust a bit in that you don't build a wastewater plant without a trunk line. And so, right, really one of the things that we would begin the process of looking at is your right away. You don't want to get your initial trunk line. The question can be, are you going to run trunk line all the way up to that north quadrant? This is the beginning. Remember, what we're in now is this new stuff. Is it worth doing this? What do y'all think? What parts of the city, how can we stimulate a 2040, 2050 plan? And one of the things, water, we looked at the fact that we're running that transmission line to the east down. We got an upgrade going to the BRA right now, the city does, which giving it capacity there. Dozier has got some work being done on it currently. We're gonna have to be looking at BOD in the future. And then if we're really looking far into the future, which is for 2040, which is what this is, we're gonna end up in a point to where you're gonna need a wastewater plant to the north and to the south. Brendan asked us to, this one we have looked at because it's going to be the more immediate need, but she's asked the group to also take a look at where would you do it on the south? And so at some point in 2025, as a part of the master plan, we will be looking at, we don't know where it would go, even with this, you're not really sure where you would build this. But to do it, we would start the process by allocating 2.5 to do a basis of design, finding a location, buying the land so that you could then go to the state and get all your permitting, which would then allow you to go to the second step, which is to do your design at 8 million. And if you're gonna do the design at 8 million, you've already pushed yourself through 2.5, which is the basis design, and get an approval at the state level so that you can do the design. If you can do the design, you would then definitely go buy the site. That is a 3-year period.
Yes.
So 3 to 4 years, what you end up with is, hey, we know where we're gonna locate and we got a design that's been approved. Then you start the process of saying, okay, so how do we do $85 million? We're not,
With all this going on up there, shouldn't we try to be looking for land sooner rather than later?
yeah. Right,
Yeah.
yeah,
What you're doing here, I'll say like a schematic level of the 2.5, for you to find within that till you finish that plan as to where it generally ought to go.
Yes.
I think we could move into an executive session on this particular item and present that. You wouldn't, you know, that's a line on a paper that you don't necessarily want to show on an open session. So as you know, if you wanted to, at this particular point, move into an executive session, we could talk about that more, but David has done a pretty detailed look on both the north and the south.
If you look at gravity, there's only one.
But along that gravity line,
Yeah,
there's
I mean,
multiple
Okay,
places.
yeah.
And so as you begin to really haul out tracts of land, large tracts you buy, you'd want to move into an executive session.
I agree with that, for sure, yeah.
So in our presentation, we won't mention that. Unless you want to move into executive session.
David, at what point would you estimate operating costs for something like that?
For the plan, I can get that for you. Yeah, that's early on the plan.
Thank you.
Oh, your fireworks back on. Oh, shit, you're done, dude. Yeah, we're done. I really believe this slide, you guys, it's here because this has been talked about multiple times. Is there something we should be doing there? It's just on the radar screen. That was a slide that back when we're doing that land work. Again, I like this slide. If we were gonna talk about this, I still like the alternate slide. It shows just the fields for 4, 5, and 6. Right? Yeah, one, you guys is, it shows an indoor sports facility. I mean, that's, yeah. Okay. There are people who have come to our group and to the city and asked, is there a spot in our community where you would put a sports center, and is there any way to do it? The reason this slide is that we're getting that land prepared so that if you were gonna do something sizable, that's where you put it, would be up there, number one. And so, this is what it would cost our community if you were gonna try to build that. I'm not so sure. There are people who come with that sports facilities, and they say that, like what's happening in other communities, that number would point to 30 million.
30? Oh, really?
Yeah, you can't really build.
Yeah.
You can't build. So in real
On the other
terms,
side, probably too.
we think 10 out here is really is a high number for the zone to contribute. So I don't think the zone would contribute 10 million to any kind of project. And 10 doesn't represent what it would cost to do that facility. So I would change that number to 5.
The pictures you have, that's
Yeah,
30 to
right.
40 million.
Yeah, that was 41.
Yeah.
And that was
So the ten makes not much sense on this slide. The, design is because, okay, my brain just got back into it. See you.
Thanks, yeah.
This was
Hey,
My turn, Bob.
You got our
Take it over from me.
Steve, on this, my brain just got back. The 10 million is that if you were gonna do something here, that number 7, the roadway and the parking, you'd have to open that up. And so in real terms, that's what the 10 represented, was the fact that we would try to build number 7. I'll clear that up. I just want you to know. There's some infrastructure improvements that opens this up. And so, I need to make sure that I understand.
Yeah, that wasn't anything of the facility itself.
No, that it wasn't.
Forget about the roads and
Yeah,
stuff like
that's,
that.
I'm sorry, but it's number 7. You just gotta help me, David,
Yeah.
because there's so many slides and you get to this and your brain's gotta be reshot. So we would try to design some of the
Just
initial.
Like for the record, we lost the quorum of the finance committee. You can go ahead and continue discussing, but it's.
Yeah. I think we're down to, what side am I on? Yeah, we're really just
Only 11 left.
Huh?
11 left.
only 11 left. We're gonna be able to cut some out, I think, when he gets done. It's for our presentation purposes, and we're gonna blow through it quicker, which is what's unfortunate. Everybody, we don't have near as much dialogue. This would be something that if we could find the dollars.
What's CPS?
Construction-based services. So it's, construction administration, on-site representation, inspection, and then materials testing.
And you would do that by the time if it bids. So really what we'd want to do is as a group, we'd want to say, you guys, we should lay down that parking lot, number 7, that parking structure, that roadway, and bring the utilities into this area so that you could offer that to as an incentive for someone to bring in, number 1, a rec center, which is gonna, in our community, be $30 million. And so, that's one of the first steps, is just preparing that area to do that and really putting in on paper that we're gonna have that right away.
Yeah.
I mean, that roadway, as you know, when they're flipping fields over there right now, if you talk to the Parks and Rec, when they're flipping fields, there's no parking. They got people parking in the grass and that, because you got multiple games going on. And so you got the people that are playing, and then the people are coming in. It's getting a little bit of pressure in this quadrant. And so, on our radar screen, we should look, is there a way in 2025 to release that 950 and put in some construction dollars in, 2026, 2027. We could be doing stuff like that, David, on these future ones. You could, like construction says 2025. We could dash it, 2025 to 2027. We're looking at this, you guys. I'm not asking, and our project group isn't asking for it to be funded in 2025. We're just saying that, we want to show you what the dollar is. And somewhere in this next 3 years, we may be funding that. This has come to the attention that Baylor Scott and White is reopening their clinic. One of the things we've talked about is that we have the parking structure. It's not a very good picture. You have a really good slide of that from a long time ago. You have a really good slide of the parking lot. See if you can find that so that I can click to it right here. But Scott and White is going to be doing that. There might be a need for us to activate that parking lot. The 4,158,000, it was, can you give me the slide also of the facade? Right? Because isn't that what the 4 million represents, is the power poles and everything?
Yes.
This doesn't show me enough. The slide doesn't show what this, just doesn't show anything. Right? I mean, you look at this, I got highlight, I mean.
You want the one that Travis did for the facade on the deal?
The facade, the parking, like right here, you got a bunch of people looking at this and they have no idea what they're looking at. Right?
Is it parking and electric
Well, that's
and
this,
facade?
oh yeah, we're gonna make this cleaner. And just to save your guys' time, David and I will work this out. This is our central corridor plan, but in real terms, what this number represents is that we think that
there's a potential to be able to work with Scott and White as they're trying to reactivate the clinic. In the building, that parking lot, which is to the east of that, which I have a better picture of. And in this, I would break this 4,158,000 into two categories. One was for electrical and one was for parking garage. The parking garage was 400, or the parking lot was 400,000. The electrical was 3.5 million.
That's just,
That's just for the electrical.
and then,
Oh, there's the
Parking.
structure.
I got a question on
Okay,
parking lots.
sorry,
Are you planning on closing down that alley?
Hey, David. Is for that, there's 462, we're doing all those yellow,
We're showing everything now.
so, but, still,
Yeah,
Right.
I'll clean that up.
we're gonna clean this up. What was you gonna say about?
The parking lot there, are you closing the alley?
Are we closing it?
You can't
No,
close
we-
it,
No, there are utilities there. Okay.
Got it.
and Jack's uses it. You have to build that whole new road.
Yeah.
You have to relocate all the
Yeah.
utilities.
Now, again, you
Can't pave over it, but you can't have
Yeah,
parking
really,
spaces, you can't have access, but.
But this is another one of the projects that is on the radar screen. Again, these are semi-prioritized by projects that are being,
there's no money
presented to the
here
council.
for facade improvement.
There's no money on any of these slides.
But,
Yeah,
but even what you're showing here is no facade money.
right, and I'll go back to that slide, that spreadsheet that
Yeah.
y'all went over with Brand, but
Yeah.
I believe it wasn't in the 25, y'all just had the going underground and the parking.
We as a zone
I can
spent
add
the
it.
money in this red or in this dotted. So how you would try to explain this is that we've already spent dollars in the zone to look inside that yellow box. Right, which was called, central corridor, that central corridor. In the central corridor master plan where we've already spent dollars, we called out a particular project that would make a difference, and that was, we've already talked about the landfill purchase that the zone did, or we should say that land in there, and we are now beautifying it. You've already seen that. That was project number one. Project number two was to making sure that if Scott and White was to reactivate their deal, was there any way for us to do facade grants or whatever? It has now come to the city that the Baylor Scott and White is going to be opening that up. And if we've talked about the fact that when they were active, Scott and White, they had that grass full of cars. They do not have enough parking currently to reactivate
They're
that.
gonna reactivate the whole, I mean, there are gonna be more people now than there were back then.
Therefore, the reason that this slide is here, this is what I've got to be able to tell everybody, is that, look, we've already gone through a slide that talked about how we're beautifying the tract of land. We've cleared that. That was a part of our central corridor master plan, right? The second one was that if Scott and White was to ever activate their clinic, then we would have to try to determine what to do parking, which is why we had bought the chamber building, because we knew that we'd have to build those parking lots. And that is why he says, here's the additional parking that is going to be required inside this corridor as we activate it. So it's been activated. And this year, we're going to be hearing from Scott and White, they're gonna be parking on our grass again. And so is it making more sense for us to spend the $462,000 to help alleviate the parking in that? That's one number. The other number, so I would put this slide first.
At 462, will they get that entire?
No.
Yeah, so it gets the entire parking, but the facade, which is, we've got the two-way and the facade separate. And so I'm not doing any landscaping. It's just the parking lot.
Just the one.
Both of those.
Not those others, that's why. I just-
No, not
Just,
that.
just the north side of Century.
See how well this is not
Are we
on?
still on?
Yeah, that's okay that we're live.
I didn't want to announce I was starting paging.
But it's, no, but it's, you guys, this, we're working, this is a work in progress, which is why we have these joint meetings, right? It's just to work through this. This is, that we will present this much better, right? I would think that what I want to remind everybody is that we had done a master plan for the central corridor, right? In that, we called out a couple projects that needed to be done. One was it's our gateway, and as you've already seen in our vote, we're doing the landscaping, and we have a great tract of land right on our gateway to offer. The second was that if Scott and White ever came, that's when I want to be able to show those drawings. And I will clean this up so it's much easier. And then in that you go to the parking lot first, the electric second, and then talk about the side. So you guys, I will clean this up so that it's real clear, because these doesn't tell a story, and that's why we're fumbling through it. So I'm gonna go forward. We're not voting on anything. These are just slides that will be presented to the group. That talks about potential projects that we could be looking at in the next 6 months. Everything that, you know, this back end, our futures projects, just so that you all know what a priority list of potential projects, and we'll have to see if there's funding available for us to move forward. And these are somewhat in the order for which we do it. This is a master plan that is already being done through the city. And already voted on for Wilson Park. We agree that just like Crossroads, that this could be looked at holistically is real important. So
I
There's-
don't think that's started. The master plan for Wilson Park.
my understanding is it was.
It's been the proposal's been submitted in the area.
Yeah, I don't know that we've got a contract on it yet, though.
I don't think so, did council.
Yeah, we have a proposal, but I believe we have a contract.
Proposal for the plan.
The only reason I knew that is Cody had said that Aaron had asked for it and that she had dollars for that. And so she,
There is funding there.
so for us, since it's there, we also would just like to put everybody to notice that it's important, and if there's the zone like it did with Crossroads, it would add this as a potential project. Remember, everything that we're talking about, you have to keep saying this, these are potential projects. This is it's really hard for everybody to understand that, you know, that you're switching from projects we've done to now giving the board a heads up so that this is a project we'd like to do.
Yeah, just another, we've now lost the project committee forum. Again, you can continue to talk since you're not making decisions.
Let's just see what we got here. That was it. We're gonna clean, this will go, this back end will go a little better. It's almost like, do you do it? You
I
know?
have a question on the next slide too, real quick, John.
Which one?
The next slide.
This one?
Yeah, that right away.
Yeah, flexibility.
Yes,
Yeah, and that's been brought up. The reason that these slides are in here is that all of these have been talked about as projects. But again, we've lost everybody, but we haven't lost, I mean, we've all talked about these, and the question's gonna be in our February meeting. Do I kill any of this future stuff? So you're going back, and this is where you're going to one, right? That's, let's go back here, see? This is my last real slide. When you do this, we talk about the fact that it's gonna be, maybe a need for some additional funding. We're done with our financing plan, right? All our financing plan amendments are done and all of that. Now, the reason that I went to this is because I wish that I could, this is a need, right? There's money for that.
I think. Yeah, that's, I mean, to your point, John, I'm thinking through like, do you even show it, or do you just show like, here's the like super close, which is this one, and maybe some of the right of way stuff we're talking about, but not
See
the,
this one?
yeah.
That one, I mean, we're you know, here's your problem.
You need that
This is-
happen now. so
I
that
think
we can
everybody,
go-
there's a combination deal going on here. We've lost everybody, which is okay, so we're not gonna vote on anything.
Yeah.
But what we're trying to determine is, we've lost damn near our whole finance committee too, which is, do we have money for that 1.758? You guys, right? That's what we've asked Melissa. I think we should see if we got this 1.75.
I think line 71, we can steal it off. Personally.
You got the extra time?
Roland.
Oh, Rowan.
That frees up. That frees up $5 million, but it
Yeah.
frees up 1.6 today.
Yeah, I said we might still have to have another meeting, Bob, between you, me and them to confirm how this.
And we
I would
have a
say-
meeting, we have a finance only meeting scheduled,
Yeah.
but it's not gonna be before February.
Here, on this one, this Brenda's asked, is there, what, that, can I get David? Can we find, but this ain't the number. And so we need to refine this, which everybody's here and we talked about this one, but I'd like to refine that number to see if we can find it. We don't know what the number is.
Or,
This the
Oh, okay.
swap, so that she can get that sent to Jonas. You got 100 days, right? Right, that house is in a wide ass open right now, and seriously, this takes, Judge getting in front of his group. That means he's gotta have this package, right, in the next, month or so. That says, hey, can I get this land swap? And so I don't have the dollars to pay David to put the whole package together. And I need that number, David, and we gotta see it, it's not $665.
No,
Right, and so this is I'm just telling you, that the been asked by, Brian, it's something important to us. That and in that number, it shows this, which is that we just wanna show that it's connected to interstate, right? And for connectivity, and for us to be able to complete this project, and I'll have these slides easier to run through with a dollar amount that's probably a smaller dollar amount, maybe 100 total. I'm making this number up because I don't have it. And we should try to get that added into this deal. So we'll try to vote at a full board meeting and I'll have a better set of slides to say, guys, that we should have David put this package together so we can get it in front of them. So I need this number for sure. This, these two slides that, David, if there was a way to show these onto a single slide, it would almost be better. I need that slide. And then this next slide, it just shows how the two connect, all right? And you guys, we're working on this. This piece is a work in progress, right? Then the next one is, I don't think you're gonna find this. So we ditched it. Here's the deal. I like full disclosure and telling the boards that this might come in a quarter rather than just bringing it. So I don't have to, I can ditch this slide.
Personally, I like it when you give a little view of everything.
Yeah. And so I'm gonna have a better picture. You're gonna add a slide for that. This is where everybody left, right? So then we went to this. I got this in with everybody, which was just to let everybody know that we're trying to get design dollars to do number 7. That's where we lost everybody. This, they haven't seen. And this one gets pretty foggy. Right, but I can clean that up, and you know what, we're not asking for any dollars on this, but I will tell you, they're in active discussions with the city manager as to, we're about to activate this, and is there, tell us what you think, or forever hold your peace, and so this, I would like to present to the full board that, hey, you guys, I don't know if you knew this, but John Wilder's opening, we just spent dollars to make sure that the grass on one side of the building looks okay. At some particular point, they're gonna be parking in the grass over there, so we may want to look at trying to build this parking lot for $462,000, and then to do it, we're gonna have to spend a certain amount of design dollars for it to be prepared. Right, Bob, I still think we should.
And they're gonna be opening this summer.
But this is so confusing,
Yeah.
right? And that's confusing. We're gonna clean that up. And then on this, that there is a master plan being done, and there is some right-of-way needs at 700,000 that we may want to help on for the flexibility. There is dollars for them to buy a tract of land that's under contract here. And they have the dollars, but the dollars that the city would use are less flexible. And you have to forever hold, it is parkland forever. To where if the zone wanted to be able to possibly take some of the land that's there and be able to sell it, then we should fund the land and then we could later on get that money back. So, and it's sort of our discussion. We're in active discussions with the city manager's office on this master plan, on that purchase of land, to make sure that the zone and the city combined have the most flexibility on that closing. That's all we would say on that one, right? And then that's a good picture, David.
We drove it.
You know, that's what we need on a couple of those other slides. This one needs to be killed.
Typical.
Yeah. That one just needs to, you know, as you guys know, the zone has spent some money in conjunction with the EDC. I'm closing it since we're still open. Just the reason we're killing this is that we'd spent some dollars and we were wondering if we should re-talk about this, and I don't think it'll be a part of the discussions in our board meeting, so we're just gonna pull that slide and that slide, which was, well, is there ever some potential funding we'd want to put forth? And since we really don't know what we're doing there, we're just gonna kill that.
That one we better lay.
That was just backfilling some of the land purchases money.
That's gonna be needed.
That's not what, that's in addition to what's already in our plan. If we're showing 8. You're saying 12 more or add 4?
You know, my brain, you know, the last slide, I'm having brain freeze.
We're showing 8.1.
Trying to remember what we had, what you just wanted to backfill it. What I would say. What?
Yeah, it's okay. I think we can take line 71 and add it to our revenue sources as y'all are trying to find money for these. I mean, you can confirm that with Brandon and Adrian, but I don't.
The only thing I would be concerned about is that we still have.
Since we
an
lost
active
our,
agreement.
all of our quorums, can we, let's just
Yeah, can we?
close this,
Yeah,
let's
yeah,
just
talk about
be
it.
done.
Yeah, agreed.
So I think we're gonna, all of those last ones we're done, and we're gonna
Do we need to say something?
call this
about
to an end.
Just, yeah.
Yeah, we're adjourned.
it?